But no,
Neil short BMNR,
yeah,
not more downside on BMNR.
SpaceX is absolutely bleeding its own blood. Tesla's falling off a cliff as well too. So yeah, let's see. Are you gonna buy Zuck's smart glasses? Is that something that you would be looking?
I bought them when the first gen, and I returned them.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really interested.
Like the Oakleys or anything like that.
I don't know. I'm not interested, Joey.
You know what I do like is the point of view. POV.
Yeah,
when you wear them, like if you're like recording something.
All I see is dudes wear that and then try to riz women on the internet, and like they're just trying to they're going up, speaking to them, and they got the smart glasses on. That's the only purpose I've seen
so
online.
Far? Okay.
Yeah, Rizzlers.
Well, maybe the Rizzler. Do you know who the Rizzler is?
Rizzlers,
yeah. No, but I think if you're like playing sports, good for recording sports and stuff. But do you know that guy? Do you know the Rizzler?
I know about the Riddler.
No, not the Riddler, the Rizzler.
Yeah, so he's something. He's obviously doing his thing there with people. What does he do?
No, it's just this little kid that they call the Rizzler.
What does he have good riz?
No, he's a little kid. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why do they call him that?
I don't know.
All right. Take care. 5 minutes in the bag.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Yeah, I think we're up to an hour now. We might have to take Friday off, guys.
All right, the guns are for gun content, POV. Like, come on, bro. We're tired. I mean, like, it's cool, but there's so many different points of views that you can use these things for.
All right, man.
Let's get out of here. Yeah, 5 minutes is a lot, dude. That's crazy.
Cool.
What's up, everybody?
What up, everybody?
About, using those glasses maybe for sports.
Coaching,
like
first
that,
person.
Yeah. But it is weird. You're talking about like people wearing them into clubs and out at bars and stuff like that. Like, what's really the point of that?
You don't feel like
Like,
one of the things is, are people feeling like they can't be themselves or afraid to like I was thinking about it. Well, if I was coaching first base or something and whatever, like your team and having them on, I think that I was coaching first base or something and whatever, like your team and having them on, I think that would be pretty cool. We'll see. You guys obviously know we've got some earnings tonight, and we're locked and loaded and getting ready for that. That's all the different camera shots we can get the turnaround for sure. So yeah, it's going to be a fun. We got a couple of hours, or less than 2 hours now, until earnings palooza.
And I put down on the good old X account over there. It's too bad that we were not here at this time, and it's really 25 on the sticky note today. And that's that short that we waited for pretty much all day. As soon as we went off air is when it was starting to go. Could have, should have, would have stayed around for that trade. And now you're seeing where this is, and it's just absolute chaos to the downside here today for SpaceX. And I was having to do some work with Fabian there and missed the 18 out there, but that's okay. We'll see if it comes back in right there. 18 low take there for SPCX as we get ready to rock and roll. But before we do anything, we got to talk to you about Oragenics. The company has now activated its phase 2A clinical trial in Australia with its first site fully operational and patient dosing expected next. Of course, the ticker is OGEN on the NYSE American. They're developing ONP-002, which is an intranasal treatment targeting concussion and mild traumatic brain injury, an area where there are currently no FDA-approved therapies. Alongside that, Oragenics has spent the past year strengthening its balance sheet, raising capital, resolving liabilities, and restoring exchange compliance. The focus now shifts to execution, with clinical progress underway and additional CNS assets under evaluation. Please go check them out. No matter what you're up to, check out Oragenics. We've all know somebody or have had potentially a concussion ourselves. So go get that all looked at. Boom, again, we take that trade at 12:30. We just posted up that's where we sort of wanted this level for IBIT. We had put into our, on our sticky note here today that we wanted IBIT at 37.75. That's, we were lucky enough to get a 50 fill. Goes down into VWAP. Now we're starting to cover some of this. So we are going to be short on IBIT. This will actually be, one of the only positive stocks today that I have. I'm not down that much on NVDA. We got the long there up to the top side. Then I went short when I thought it was failing up there at 214. It broke out. What a good day there for NVIDIA. The bigger loser for me today is this TQs, which is just funny because if I just don't stop out and I basically hold forever, which is never a good sign, and that's not a trading strategy, you don't even have too much to worry about because it doesn't break 71.50. Now it's underneath pretty much every level that we shorted earlier. So yeah, not a great look there for the TQs today. Just stopped out too many times here as we kept on ripping up near 11 o'clock. So this will be the big one there. We'll see if we can short it again if it does come back up. But here comes SpaceX right back to that level again of 119. I like the short break just because of the momentum. Like, you know, we had seen that break right there and held, so it didn't break. And then once it did break, we punched down and we got 10 cents worth of slippage, which is fine. And we were able to cover some at 60s, some in the 40s. But like I had mentioned, there did not get the O's out, which I wish we would have. I was doing some testing of these cameras, but normally I have a bid down there. I just didn't put it, which is my bad. So we got another out there at 60. So let's see what winds up happening now at the 25 period moving average. It's SpaceX. I wanted to hold this against 120.
Did you say O's?
O's, yeah. What did I say? O's 118. Yeah, O's, yeah, maybe 118.
Do you know what Snoop Dogg's least favorite favorite cereal is?
Let me see. I'm trying to think about it. What is it?
It's Cheerios. You know why?
Because it's missing the hose.
He don't love them O's.
Yeah, exactly. Good one. Yeah, I was thinking about that one there. It's a good one there.
I can't claim credit. I'm trying to remember. I want to say
some kid
I don't
jokes?
think it was Chappelle. Like I want to say it was Chappelle, but I don't remember who did that one. It damn sure wasn't. It ain't my joke. That's for sure. That being said, Fruit Loops are delicious. I'm gonna throw that out there. Why have Cheerios when you can eat Fruit Loops?
Frosted Flakes.
For all you Americans, Fruit Loops taste different here than it does in the U.S. I don't know. Like I'm just saying it tastes better here. So if you've had Fruit Loops in the U.S., come to Canada, eat our Fruit Loops, and trust me, like that's some good-ish. I'm only in one trade right now. It's BM&R. I pivoted from IBIT to BM&R because, well, so this morning, there was a couple of good opportunities to short, but it kept making higher lows and higher highs. And that top in BM&R ended up being topping tail, lower high. So that actually continuation looked like a little bit more of a short. And then when we bounced off VWAP here, throw in here that ETH is doing absolutely nothing. So ETH under VWAP. It also didn't make any fresh highs after the morning tops. Just a little bit of extra weakness over in this bad boy, though I might want to take another cover into this wick in the 40s. Looks like it's just supporting these 40s. So I'm going to get on the bid here, take another out. We are going to be looking at a bunch of earnings names. I want to get this poll right away because, hey, it's earnings. So who am I missing? The question is going to be, if you're in the chat right now, the question is going to be, which earnings name are you riding with? Who's your pick? Look, you got to pick one, and you got to say this is the one you think is going to be the best long. All right? So I'm hoping we can have, who am I missing? Alphabet, Tesla, ServiceNow,
those
IBM.
Are the big ones.
Is there a big one? Am I missing a big one?
If you can't get bigger than that, can you?
Okay, I'm gonna
Google, Tesla, IBM, ServiceNow, TXN. Those are, I think, the 5 biggest.
Did I put TSLA? No. TXN, no disrespect, Texas Instruments. We'll leave it with these three. Yeah. We'll start the voting right now. So type 1 if you're rolling with Alphabet, 2 Tesla, 3 IBM, 4 ServiceNow. Remember, let's see what happens, but we want to see what the viewers will think. Runaway right now is Alphabet. Like, we just opened it up, and it's 60%. 60% Alphabet. God. IBM bringing up the rear at 10%, and same thing with ServiceNow, but 11. Tesla giving you the other, 20 to 25 pointers. So we'll leave that one up. Again, it's just to see what everybody thinks.
I never like it when it's one way.
Whenever it's, yeah, you want it to be one way.
Yeah, I don't want Google to be.
Remember the Apple polls for the Mag 7? Like, we did those polls, and every single one, which Mag 7 do you like the best? Apple, dead last. Which Mag 7 is the one that went to the all-time high? Apple. Like, it was the absolute opposite of the overall. Sometimes that's how it is. Like, if everybody's short, it goes up, like that kind of a deal. But we're going to find out in just a couple of hours. Very popular. Everyone's going with probably the best company out of all of those. But there's a difference between the best company and what happens tonight, possibly.
Yeah, no, I mean, you never know. We've loved Google for a long time, and it's been like, a love-hate relationship. On earnings, you can be up or down. 10%. The expected move was 6%. We'll get some of those going for you guys in just a couple minutes. This is what Adara puts out every day. And so even this is going to be important. We're going to stay late with you guys today, but we won't stay too much past 4:10. That's IBM. So we'll be there for Google. Texas Instruments we'll have on board for you guys as well there into the close. And we'll have some Tesla at 4:05. IBM coming at 4:10, and then Google right out the hop right there early at 4 p.m. So should be a good, will be a good earnings show for sure. It's just a matter of will the earnings come the way we all hope, and that is upside right there. And you can go get all of these, including the full week's calendar over there at Trader TV Research, TTVL. Just type that in, you'll find it immediately. Vernova's down 10% or 8% or so today. 8%. So that was not a great look there to start it off with. But then tomorrow we've got some good names as well in the after hours.
Lockheed.
Just Intel tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on. And then Nokia tomorrow in the pre-market. These are all pre-market. American Airlines. We sort of talked about maybe the impact of oil having on some of these plays there recently. So we'll have a check on that. Comcast, I don't know, man. We've seen Netflix and what they've been doing. Although Netflix was up this morning, we can have another look there. And of course, on Friday, nothing coming in the post-market, but we do got Verizon, and we talked about, potentially not the death of, but we've seen some downside slides in some of the telecommunication names there. And then American Express. So some good names coming this week for sure. Just a matter of, sitting tight for tonight and waiting to see what these big dogs are bringing out for us right there. SpaceX coming back in, so that'll be good. I was waiting for right here at 119.35 at the time. Now it looks like 119.25. We want to go short again off of, and it's really, you don't need that many trades, to make some money. But there's the SpaceX short 125. It was the number one trade idea for myself. I just wasn't here when that hit. And I don't want to just put an order there, especially on a SpaceX, but we could have done that and it would have actually been completely fine. 124.75, the high, 124.90 actually, the high of the day. So, that one now would be $6 in the money, but, it doesn't really matter. We don't have it. We're going to try to play the momentum low side right now. I'm going to put a bid out here at 66 or whatever just got filled there just to get a piece out. We have fallen back into this level one more time. We got a piece there, 72. So we're starting to get out. I actually only have now 60% of what I took right there left on board, with the rest waiting for lower. So let's see if that does come through, man. And then we'll just hopefully celebrate on a 118 break, and then we'll just go from there. We are very nervous about August the 6th, and that's going to be when that lockup
I think
happens.
everybody is.
There,
it's
yeah.
Not the, it's,
so
it's,
I think
the
natural
lockup
to
more
be
than the
nervous,
earnings.
right? Yeah, no, the earnings are going to be a problem, but what are they going to talk about in the earnings, right? Like, we don't really know what to expect from Elon Musk and company on that. What are they going to be talking about? Mining asteroids? Are they going to be talking about Stargate? What
I
the
think they're
hell?
going to be talking about like the
Starlink?
the growth in earnings, because the revenue growth is going to have to be the story. Like, you're going to have to explain.
Yeah, because they have no revenues until 2031 or something.
Like, you're going to have to explain to us like that 5 to 10 year window, like how you're going to get exponential from there. And I think that's the story. That's why people want to own it long term. Only because you brought up. I'm not trying to put a downer on this, but you did mention Netflix and the gains that it had this morning. About those gains, they're gone. So Netflix, it's up because it gapped up. Like, a lot of times you're here at the close. Actually, it fell back from the highs at the close a little bit, so technically it did gap up, but it closed the entirety of this breakout gap for Netflix. So 1 step forward, 2 steps back, at least 1 step forward, 1 step back here for Netflix. But the good news is the earnings, like the earnings resistance level on day 2, that can be some support. So Netflix, just hold the 69, and maybe you aren't an abject disaster forever, Netflix. For the small cap people out there, it's hilarious because a couple of times that Sharif was talking about ADVB, like, you heard me, I went to shut him like, he's looking at ABV? Nice. And then I'm like, no, he was talking about ADVB. That one's trying to stop falling, halted down, open lower, pulling into VWAP. It's already lost $5 from the high, maybe a little bit more than $5 from the highs. The volume's still pretty solid, so I imagine there's probably some active lookers here. That's the most recent one that halted. Actually, no, there's a STFS, but I'm not familiar with that one. We're going to Adara first, and then maybe find some other interesting plays, as the market's still kind of pulling back here.
Yeah, let's talk here about USO. USO, pretty stagnant here, but I do think I have to mention this comment made by the aerospace commander of Iran's IRGC, Mousavi, saying that, quote, Iran will cut off the electricity of U.S. regional allies if its bridges or power plants are attacked. So once again, here we've got the U.S. threatening to, attack bridges or power plants of Iran if they attack. Now Iran saying, hey, if you do that, we're going to do this. So these threats continue to cascade here, unfortunately, between the U.S. and Iran. back to you.
Yay. What we need is more escalation, everybody.
I mean, we heard this morning, it was like, okay, you know, what's the next story here? And it was, you know, the more they hit us, the more we hit them, and it's back and forth. But yeah,
hopefully no troops on the ground, but I don't know, it feels like we're not hearing the end of it, and at this point, like when USO pulls back, it's not really pulling back. Every time you think that oil's having, like at least recently, right? Like it looks like it's having a weak day. Not really. Like it's more consolidated than anything else. Like today, obviously if I just put up a 3-minute chart or a 1-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, even here, of course that looks like a pretty weak day for oil. But it's still a gap up and then holding consolidation. Like there's nothing that's really flushing and we're not getting any positive headlines. You do have to wonder, we're not that far from really just filling in the gap even more. You just need one kind of major escalation and things are going to absolutely start to fly. Unfortunately for the traders out there, I don't know what to tell you, but these guys are dead. Right? You gap up, break higher, battle did absolutely nothing. So the small cap plays that have been squeezing are not showing any signs. Part of that to me says, well, no one's really believing that we're going to sustain some of these moves. So the people that short in these names are feeling very confident and not really covering into any rallies in USO. Maybe if we break the highs or something. I feel better about Sky Q than Battle for obvious reasons, because Battle came all the way back. This one's still in a bit of an upward trend, but it's not moving. If USO breaks the highs, I think you'd have something with that Sky Q. You need to find something else that might be going. It's just not very good.
Sky Quarry.
Sky Quarry. They're like a refined petroleum products play. So you think they could be good, but
we're
1 point today only.
Yeah, we're putting some damage on IBIT. So we just got a great fill down near VWAP, man. I wasn't sure if we were going to get that again down there. We didn't have an order here when that name came through. But yeah, bid right there at 35. So hopefully that, you know, winds up being one of the better outs there. I just put another bid lower to see if we can grab something. Well, I put another bid at 37 to see if we can grab that. And I do have sort of like a closing trade at 32. Like if we can get VWAP proper, then I think we're doing pretty good there. We'll see about shutting ourselves out of the trade there. Hold a little bit of it, but you know, good position there back in for IBIT. And again, the idea here was 66,000, and that's again one of the notes from this morning that we wanted to do. Looks like, again, I'm just going to put another bid out here, just get out more 5%. And I want to try to hold, like I said, for SpaceX. It's just these are the best we've gotten. It's only dipped below 50 once. So now I'm bidding another tranche here to get down to half at 30s. If we can get the 30 fill, which we just bounced off 35, then we'll do that. And then I don't have any more bids until we break 118. So let's just take in one more fill down here. It's been a good trade. I'm just late to the party, right? I mean, the SpaceX move had already happened, and we had written down, you guys can look it up, I've already showed it. We wrote down 125, but right now, that's not a thing because we're not here to take that. So we're just going to go short now. And it was late, right? We're late to the party. I would have loved to short that 120 break there. That was obviously an instant, I guess, the same kind of trade. Instantly down about 80, 90 cents there. That's what happened here. Breaks, goes down to the next dollar, and bounces off that, right? And so that's what SpaceX did now twice on these key dollar breaks. So right now, the reason why, okay, there we go. We get the 30s, thankfully. Okay. Now let's see if we can hold and do a little more damage here to the downside and help out our P&L a little bit. SpaceX will be my number one stock if I got out now, but IBIT currently holding. Oh, IBIT just tanked. Wow. Okay, let's go. What happened to IBIT right there? That's a good one. I was like, the P&L just changed there a little bit, and it wasn't just because of SpaceX, but there goes IBIT, kaboom. Nice move to the downside right there. All right, well, hey, that's it. Almost end of the trade, man. That's what we wanted. We told you we wanted 32s. We get that right there, and yeah, so down goes IBIT. I mean, obviously, I wish we had never covered this one, but there it goes. That was a good one there, and yeah, man. Okay, happy with that one.
Yeah, gotta cover somewhere.
IBIT. Yeah, whatever.
Everything's flushing now, so we'll take it. You don't necessarily want the market to go red, but it is already red. So sorry to tell you guys, it's just a matter of whether the Nasdaq loses view up here. I'm not bidding again until mid 30s. I think I have 32 in there. I'll move it to 33 or 34 if we need to. But we are selling off into the close. The other thing that's happening, and when we're doing the earnings names and looking at, I guess, the four that we picked. ServiceNow is bleeding all day. Software is bleeding all day, but ServiceNow is bleeding going into their earnings. IBM is getting smoked. I know it's only down 2.5%, but context matters. This is now the bottom from the preliminary earnings report in $1. So the bleed is real here. You know, they're taking this one and woodshedding it. Some risk coming off of these names going into earnings, and we have Iran's Revolutionary Guard spokesperson warns shipping companies that the Strait of Hormuz southern route is mined. Post on X. Yeah, this is not good.
Oh, by
Let's
the
go.
way.
I think we're going up to Adara.
Are we? Okay.
Oh, no.
No,
Oh, not yet. No, because
Not yet.
No, because she gone.
We're going to go. What's up, Ozan? There goes the break. Again, now we're $1 and change in the money. Finally we can hit it. Dollar club. Oh, boy. You know, I love being here and trading with everybody, but I love having winners just as much. And there it goes to the downside there, 117.80. Now starting to bleed a little lower there. And again, we only have a third left. So we could do the whole Brian Shannon thing. I actually called up a 2-minute chart right here. Thing is like he was saying that on a 2-minute bar cover up there. So like that's one bar there. We don't get back to that, right? So you don't get out there. You're kind of waiting for these big moves to happen, trying to cover. You might have covered a little bit there at 119, but here's a bigger move. So there's a 2-minute candle there. And you want to start to get out when it covers up the last 2 minutes. So right now we can almost just wait for SpaceX to continue to go higher here. We can even put little mini stops every time it goes back up to the upside. But I think now it's worth letting this thing go all the way down. I mean, you're at 1760 now and starting to go a little lower through there. So yeah, so far so good here. Needless to say for SpaceX on the short anyways. Hey man, I was saying $100 earlier today in the morning. I think that was just a random level. I mean, the problem with SpaceX and this is going to be the problem with this stock for a very, very long time because there are no earnings. You know, when an IBM or something goes down, right, and IBM just keeps on falling, there's so much coverage of IBM that they can just say, okay, based on what they've told us, we can put the numbers down to a 5 multiple or down to whatever it happens to be. SpaceX has already told us there's not going to be any revenues for half a decade. You know, so what exactly are you going to base the value of SpaceX on to where you can finally say, you know what, I believe 115 is a good level. Like, I think I don't know what's going to save this other than what Kathy tried yesterday with her buy program. Like, there's not going to be someone that's going to be smart enough to say, I believe there's value in SpaceX at X level. Like, we could buy it when it hits $1 trillion. You could buy it when it hits $750 billion.
Just think like the Rebel Alliance.
How do they think?
Rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah, and I think this is a hopium stock right now, and it's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, that's a good one. You have the it's a trap thing. Feels like this has been a trap. You know, all the smart money probably on the sidelines here as guys like us, you know, take pieces of our position that are now out 30, 40%. Some people out even more than that. This thing has dropped almost double from its highs. It was $230, man, was its highs. I mean, where does it stop?
Away.
You know, and that, I think that's going to eventually be just a huge story here with SpaceX. And that is that, I'm going to get a piece out. And that is that where does it stop and what's the reason for it stopping? You know, because it's not like earnings season, Elon's going to say, oh, guess what? We've just found out that we're starting a colony on Mars and, you know, rent starts at $1,000 a square foot. And,
I'm all in.
You know, we own like 1 million square feet. So therefore, anyways, long story short.
He's going to go save Mark Watney and the stock's going to 1,000.
Yeah, if I even know who that was. I'm probably a sci-fi guy.
He's a Martian.
Oh, yeah, I have no idea.
Oh, okay. It's a good movie. Not as good as,
not as good as what it did.
Not as good as Helmer. Definitely not as good as what we're about to see up the wall. Ooh, I see a name that we're interested in tonight.
Afternoon, everyone. It's time for today's version of To the Window, To the Wall, where I pull up an infographic window and we talk about it on the wall. As Sean and Neil alluded to, today we're going to talk about Tesla. Now, TSLA is reporting earnings after the bell, so I think it's very timely to discuss this name. And this infographic is earnings related. Now, what is this? What does it mean? So way back in, I want to say April of 2025, I made this infographic. At that point, it only would have been up to date up to Q3 2024 because I made it before the Q4 earnings report. But it would have been up to date up to Q4 2024 because I made it ahead of the Q1 25 earnings report. That's not really relevant. What is relevant, though, is what I was trying to measure. So you've got the day one returns here in the light gray. Now, this isn't like the, implied earnings move or anything. This isn't what it's at open after the report. This is how has it performed in the day following the earnings release. So day one earnings, that's what we're really looking at here. Now the red line is revenue growth. So how much revenue growth did Tesla report that quarter? Now obviously those metrics don't necessarily, go hand in hand on their faces, but what I wanted to look at was, does Tesla respond to what we're actually seeing here from their revenue growth with the stock? So like if we have a strong revenue growth report, do we see the stock performing strongly? Now, as you might have guessed here, it's Tesla, it does what it wants. And what's interesting is that's very clearly, I think, reflected in this report or in this infographic. So you've got, to be fair, we've got roughly 40% growth, up 10% on the stock here. But then for Q1 2023 and for Q2 2023, you still have decent growth here of 20% or greater, or in the case of Q2 23, 45% or so growth, and you're still pretty stagnant. Now, what's interesting here as well is you've got times as well here in Q2 2024, for example, where you're actually, trading higher despite revenue not growing as much or even declining. So there's really no correlation here. Then we get to Q1 2026, where you had, much like we saw with Tesla deliveries for Q2 2026, strong revenue for Q1 26 for Tesla, but the stock not really reacting. So we'll have to wait and see what Tesla gives us for tomorrow, but I thought this was going to kind of be an interesting look. I also want to let you guys know I will be away on vacation on Thursday and Friday. Unfortunately, I will not be there for the latest to Advancing AI keynote. But that doesn't mean we're not advancing infographics. Why? Because I have a whole bunch of stuff scheduled for the entire time I am away. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, arguably way too many visuals, like probably just way too many infographics. But you're going to have a whole bunch of earnings preview content. You're going to have a lot of really interesting stuff over the weekend. And you get the day 2 schedule of the Advancing AI event for AMD. What more could you ask for? I don't know, probably a lot. But either way here, TTV Research has you covered, even when I'm not here. With that, here's our final segment for a while here of To the Window, to the Wall. But I'll see you guys at this wall on Monday. And you'll see the guys over at the desk right now.
To 100, I think people might buy.
I don't know if people will. We're just talking about
but I know Tesla. I know that's a great chart for Tesla, and we'll get to that. But
Elon's got bigger problems here. We were just saying to each other, who's going to actually step in here besides people that are covering their shorts to step in here and actually buy this? I really, I apologize for everybody having to listen to my little rant there about it, but it's I don't know where this thing stops. That's the other question that we have to talk about, right? And that's what I was saying. Why would someone say, okay, this is down far enough, time for me to buy this up? I don't know where the catalyst is to do that. Therefore, SPCX. So now you're down 5%, which is really nothing. We could get down a whole heck of a lot more than that. And who is going to sit there and buy it? That's the question. And I think that there could be some covering. So, we do have to sort of watch out on this a little bit. At 1780 right there would be the next sort of 2-minute issue. We just talked about it being 1840. Now we're down here at 1787 or so. If that covers up that candle, maybe we, start to get out a little bit there. And here it comes right now. So yeah, watching out for a 2-minute. I can't remember what Brian said. Was it just 1 2-minute candle or 2 2-minute candles? Because if it was 2 2-minute candles, then why couldn't I just use a 4-minute chart? It must have been 1 2-minute candle. I'm going to have to rewatch that segment again, or I'll just message him right now and ask him what that was.
It was definitely a 2-minute. It was a 2-minute.
Right, and why would it ever be 2 2-minute candles? Because then wouldn't you just said, why don't you just look at a 4-minute candle?
Yeah.
Or just maybe no one uses 4 minutes. I don't.
If Adara was watching during the segment, she'd know. But it was definitely a 2-minute. It was definitely a 2-minute candle. But I feel like it was the first 2-minute candle that closed higher
above
yeah.
So I'd say kind of
that sounds about right. As I've said before to Sean, I'm not always fully listening when we have the guest segments, especially because Pete Access was on yesterday, so I was watching that to see if oil would move as they talked about.
Oh, that's okay.
Before, so I wasn't fully listening.
No, don't.
It's not your fault. We're the ones that are talking to Brian here.
Trade, yeah.
I vaguely remember it being that, but I think obviously that's important. We do have a super.
I'm going to start to cover now, anyways.
Okay, well, I didn't know. I thought maybe we had it's a great super chat. Thank you, Cheese in a Chair. Do either of you guys remember the scene from Conan the Barbarian when Conan asked, what is best in life? And he said, Canadian Fruit Loops. Yeah, that was Schwarzenegger and Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know, people that hate on old school Wilt Chamberlain, Arnold Schwarzenegger said Wilt Chamberlain in the weight room was like the strongest dude he saw. Think about that perspective. Wilt was just crazy. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But if we're jumping just right back to SpaceX, the way this is falling, when the lockup expires, you have to wonder if it's already under $100 by then. If it's already sitting at like 80 or something, then that turns into probably everyone's expecting people to dump, and then they might not dump at that kind of a depressed price. And now I'm starting to think of if we do not break this trend, all we do is fall at the rate that we've been going into earnings, it's just following the same rate you'd be in the 80 range. If it just continues to do what it's already doing, it kind of turns into a sell the news, which would be a buy kind of deal. I'm trying to remember who did this. I think it was day 1 or day 2 on the ARM lockup. I'm pretty sure it was ARM, where everyone came in that morning expecting a bloodbath, and it just there was a sell into it, and then that morning it was just like a rip your face off because everyone was expecting a dump, and it was shorts covering, and there was just no sell pressure that came in, and then it was like after the fact. So I think that could happen in SpaceX. And then back to Tesla, it was a great looking chart, but one thing I wanted to point out, if you looked at the end of that graphic for Adara, it was about Q2 2025 is when you had that spike up in revenue growth, and then there was a pullback, and then another spike up that was higher. Well, what's happening now is Tesla, that second spike, it's not really respecting it in the price action. So the price action is diverting from that revenue growth in Tesla. If that trend continues, at some point, because when you have crazy valuations, what else are you going to look at other than revenue growth versus the chart? And if you just continue to drop while revenue growth gets higher, I'm telling you, that's where you start thinking about the buying opportunity, when it gets that bit of a trend line. But it does get ugly if revenue starts to slow when you're still in that downtrend. We have Chain Reactor with a super chat. Hey, thank you for the $20 super chat there. Ooh. We appreciate you. SpaceX did the stair step for selling their shares for a reason. After all the early IPO sell-offs are done in December, then and only then I will buy SpaceX. The stock is simply bleeding because of the early stockholders selling. It's an exit strategy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's about where is it going to turn? I remember when ARM came out, I thought it was going to get all the way down to like $35 to $45. It ended up bouncing at like 55 or something around that range. It was just, I remember being dead wrong about how far it was going to sell off initially, and then never really got into it until on the way back to the upside. I'm trying to find come on. Of course, it's going to take forever for this chart to load. Yeah, give me a break. It got down to it did that whole pop and then drop. Got down to about 46, and I was thinking it was going to get into the 30s the way it was trending down, and then it just started gradually rising, it could still head lower, and then eventually, next thing you know, it's breaking $80, and what are you going to do? So it's not always the easiest thing in the world. And then I look at the history of now look at it. 80 seems great, but man, $40, $50 would have been a heck of a lot better. And if you were buying too early in ARM, you were buying in the 60s and 70s on the way down. Now, I'm not saying, look, SpaceX is not ARM at all, but I think it's one of those things where it's not easy to predict where the low is going to be. Sometimes deciding DCA is the only way to go if you want to build your position.
Yeah, I think you're, thanks for the super chat. I think you're right. I mean, this is the problem. We talked about the early interest in the private markets as they were trying to price discover. There was a lot of selling heading into the IPO by insiders. Just knowing that potentially this could happen. I mean, if you didn't sell it in day 2 or day 3, then you're underwater pretty much from the get-go on SpaceX, and it sucks, right? And a lot of us have been sitting there buying some of these dips, but we'll have to wait to see. And I think your strategy is right. Wait till December. We had Steve Teilman on. He talked about wait years until you get involved in some of these most recent IPOs. But yeah, it's been years since, not years, but since we talked about Bitcoin on a positive note, it feels like. Still trying to see if it can hold out hope. That 64 to 66 is somewhere like a base right there. But I'm going to take another piece out here as we basically short the high of the day. Look, if it comes back into here, that's great. But we have a very small piece left on that trade. Our bigger outs were right into here, obviously above VWAP, and didn't really think this was going to happen into the close. You are getting a nice bounce. I just wanted to note the market as well, right there, bouncing off 29.2. So that's, a big level for VWAP. Also into the lows, sort of, it's not the low of the day, but as the market started to rip, we did come back in and bought up somewhere similarly near VWAP. So that's a nice little clean bounce right there for the overall market. So maybe NASDAQ is making its way back to the north side. Intel's been such a good short there. You had to wait for 106. I don't think I had it written down on here. No, not today. But that would have been, again, what a great level there, right into yesterday's sort of highs that we got into. And then it did break it, so I think you would have lost there. But if you sort of pushed it back down after you realize some of these top wicks, Intel now printing lower. And SpaceX's low is a break of 117. We do have that fill right there in our account, and that was, we don't have that one. We've got 117.05 or 08 right there, and bought a little bit back on the way back through, and just took a piece right here as it looked like it was bouncing off of 60. But now we can try to let this go back into 117 and see if we do get a clean break there. And then maybe the next time we start talking about this, it'll be well under that 117 spot. So hopefully that keeps it going. It was a good day today for IREN, but as you had mentioned, there's some of these names like Netflix and everything like that.
They're all giving it up.
All giving it up just a little bit as the market fades, and IREN, same kind of way, straight downside right there. Trying to bounce, I don't know, but IREN right now looking a little lower for me to look for a long. Now IREN well underneath VWAP is just another name struggling to get going. What's up, Adara?
Yeah, I'm seeing a whole bunch of headlines here coming from the foreign minister of Iran, Araghchi. He's saying that Iran's defense doctrine is an eye for an eye. Any aggression against Iran, including its infrastructure, will compel a powerful and decisive response, and those who contribute to such aggression in any form will also be considered legitimate targets. So, again, more escalation here between Iran and the U.S. Also, we have earnings tonight after the bell, as we've discussed ad nauseum. But what are the implied moves for these earnings? Here's the implied moves infographic, and I really hate to say it, guys, Tesla and Google are kind of the most boring here. Like even CSX, which is an industrial play, its expected move is only a little bit smaller than that of Google and Tesla. So this is a little bit disappointing. That being said, if you're looking at these software plays or Texas Instruments, these are much larger expected moves than I was expecting, and maybe you guys were as well. TXN here with a 9% expected move. IBM with a 6.5% expected move. For what it's worth, last year for this quarter it was 6.4%. So I guess in line. But ServiceNow with a nearly 12% expected move for 10 p.m. with these SaaS plays should be interesting. Let's see if SaaSmageddon 2.0 takes place. But also, guys, this infographic can be found on X at TTV Research. We're going to send it over to Sia for happening now.
Let's take a look at the markets right now. Despite tilting towards the green, you have the triple Q sliding a little bit into the red, down 0.30 at the moment. You have the Dow up 0.14% with the IWM down 0.82%. Now, like Adara mentioned, we have important names that are reporting earnings tonight, one of them being Google. So I'm just going to go over a couple of things here. Google is reporting its fiscal second quarter results. We do know it after the bell. LSEG analysts have expected this. Earnings per share, $2.89. Revenue of $106.9 billion estimated. So conference call is scheduled for 4:30 p.m. ET sharp. Google Cloud is expected to grow 64% from a year ago to $22.24 billion. And the company has raised its 2026 CapEx guidance last quarter, and any update will be notable for its flagship Gemini 3.5 Pro AI model. Also, investors will be paying close attention to Alphabet's investment income after a recent Anthropic funding that took place, pushed up the value of Google's holding in the model developer Anthropic. Also, we're going to take a look at AMZ, and we also have Tesla reporting, which Adara did cover, so I'm not going to go over that for you right now. But Amazon also an hour ago saying that it's laying off some employees in its own focused in its group focused on artificial intelligence, general intelligence. It's also declined to disclose how many staffers have been let go from this unit, which has released a set of AI models that is called Nova, which now also includes groups working on silicon as well as quantum computing. Amazon currently down on the day, close to 2%.
Oh, yuck, Amazon. I'm just going to restart my news service here because I hadn't heard anything in a while. And we had a couple of things coming from Iran. I'm like, I didn't hear that in my ear. 2 points down. If we're being real about it, okay, well, everyone's getting bled today. But there's two types of losers this morning. They're the names that reversed gains, like Netflix. You can call them a loser because they reversed their gains. You can look at some of the chip names that have given back a decent portion or a significant portion of their earnings. And then there's the names that never had a bid at all. Amazon was one of the more harsh ones because it did catch a hectic bid at 10 o'clock. And that reversal is nasty. When you do this, that's how you trap a lot of people thinking you're getting the V shape. And then it is a trap. But you know what? There was a great conversation in the chat about what SpaceX has and doesn't have in terms of viable revenue and growth and all that. But Amazon is generating cash. I understand there's going to be concerns about CapEx for sure, but they've got a lot of levers to pull. They have the 200 period moving average, which probably gets tested before their earnings. But the thing to key on tonight is if Alphabet is able to beat on that 17% cloud revenue growth, that's going to put a number out there for Amazon, right? So there's going to be a direct comparison, and then that's what Amazon has to hit, and nothing else is going to matter. That's what it's been the last few earnings cycles is, well, Alphabet comes first, and now all of a sudden Azure and AWS, you know what the target is, and if you don't have the relative growth, you're going to get smacked because you're all spending big. It's just a matter of who's generating revenue the fastest in cloud. And we'll see. We'll get the first one tonight, and then we'll see about the rest. For an opportunity for this afternoon, I want to go back to Netflix for a second because it's now losing the opening breakout level of 69. So now that that's gone, I mean, it already broke 69 a second ago. This one just feels like it's bleeding into the red. But if it pops back into this open, I want to just short the next available pop here in Netflix. You're trash when even on one of the more bullish looks, you give back all of the gains. But the market's not at the lows. ES isn't breaking the low of the day. It's Netflix breaking the low of the day.
Today, because of that reason, almost feels worse than most days. There's a lot of names that are getting crushed. Palantir down 6. I mean, here we go.
Agreed.
Here's what's down right now. Palantir down 6, Roblox down 5, SpaceX down 5. By the way, I'm bidding some 117. I want to talk about Microsoft actually as well. Here, I'll just put on SpaceX for now. I'm bidding 117.25. I know I said that we were going to wait for 117 break, but if we can get something out there. And then, some of the names that we had just mentioned there, Coinbase, that's not good. That's down 5 percentage points as well. We can have a quick look at Coinbase there. Thought it was going to get going early on in the week, but with crypto getting hit lower, I mean, we're short IBIT right now, short BMNR. I mean, we can definitely play the short game on crypto. DraftKings, I thought they just got a upgrade, but isn't this one of the names that Burry is long, is DraftKings? You want to talk about giving this guy some credit for making the right calls. Mr. Burry, that is now down pretty much 8 straight days. Shopify, obviously in the software space. SK Hynix, I'm not going to focus on that too much. It's only down 3%. I say only because, it's had moves where randomly it'll be up or down 15, 20%. Meta really sucks again. I thought this would have been a great out up there, and we just didn't take it. Meta, 680. Too bad, boo-hoo. Lots of opportunity, I think, to get out of Meta soon, especially if they do beat. I do want to talk about Microsoft there. That's down pretty bad today, down 2 and a bit percentage points as well. The ones that are holding up okay, ARM, Intel, still relatively in their sort of range, only down 1.5%. I mean, you could make that back in a matter of minutes if the news starts turning around for them. Tesla flat, Google flat, and then looking at the winners there, SMCI, of course, we get the story of better margins, and hopefully this would be a space where you'd be able to look and put your money to work. I'm going to get another bid out on SpaceX because I didn't get that 25. It just stopped at 30, so I'll take a bid. There, I just punched out 35s, some right there on SpaceX. Where'd that thing go? We have to find that back again. There it is right here. That's SpaceX. And then to wind this up, just to talk about some more names. NVDA, we've already seen that moon up to 214 and change, 215 almost. USO is nicely cooking today, up 2.5%. Broadcom and Marvell. So there is some love in the data centers today, where hopefully today you're not too diversified and you're just playing the winners. Wow, that looked like a good, decent punch out there for us on SpaceX, just out of another piece. Now I'm just talking about what I have left. So that was 10% of what I have left out there on SpaceX, not 10% of this initial spot. We sort of cleaned up a little bit to the downside there. I was trying to do the whole 2-minute thing down here, but we just keep on, it's pretty choppy right now. It's more meant for, when this is happening.
Yeah,
so I don't have like an out here and out here and out here and out here, like an out all the way down like I generally do. I think it's more to see like, okay, this is a level right there. So if we do wind up breaking, then that's where you may want to get out. And this is another one, like we kept on coming down and then right there, maybe take another piece out. So you give yourself, that 30 or 40 cents of downside before you worry about getting out. But it needs to be a little trendier more than maybe it is right now. It's just choppy down here. But we'll wait for SpaceX now. I know I keep saying that, but I don't know. It's a good trade, man. It's $1.25 now in the money, so we want to make sure that we do capture some of that. I'll be red on the day here, and we talked about why. It's if I don't trade TQs, I'm green, but I did. So what am I supposed to do? This was just too many shots right here at this high that I just thought was going to fail. We basically punched out at the highs. I mean, if I give it 20 more cents, we're fine. But, ifs and buts. So we'll just wait now for the TQs. Maybe we get back in it. Nice to see Bitcoin and crypto moving for both of us. And then I just retweeted something out that Adara put out here. And I think you guys can go over to TTV Research and find it, over to my account either as well. But these are the implied moves. So we have that up. We can go up to the big board in a minute because at the top there shows what you guys voted on. By the way, SpaceX is now breaking 117 again. But it was Texas Instruments, 9% move. That seems lofty.
Yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah, that seems a little lofty there. So I don't know what they're looking at.
Yeah, it was 7% last year because it was actually great. There's basically the same names reporting today that as of, I guess, last quarter, this time last year. So it's interesting enough. Last time it was 7% for Texas Instruments. So this time it was 9%. So this is a significant expected move.
Okay, yeah, 7 to 9. I mean, I guess that's pretty dramatic, but I just didn't think. And then CSX, of course, not too worried about that name for technology reasons. Google there, Tesla, obviously these ones very interesting there. I feel like Tesla's going to move more than Google, but who knows? Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying earlier. I was like, Tesla doesn't have huge moves on their earnings calls.
Yeah, but I still, in the back of my mind, I keep feeling like it will.
Yeah, and then ServiceNow, of course, being, a software name, definitely looking at hits there today. So yeah, go find it out. These are the times as well. So the last report today, 4:10. We're going to stay late with you. So set your alarms, man. We're not going anywhere at 4 o'clock. We'll start going crazy when we get Google. Then we'll go, give it to you again at 4:05. And then we'll give you the big one there at 4:10. And then we'll get out of here. And we'll keep on doing that. Tomorrow's only Intel, so I think we're probably okay there. But at the end of the day, it's Google today. And I think that's going to be one of the bigger reports that traders are going to look at to get an idea, as you mentioned there, what to base the expectations on moving forward.
Someone asked me in the chat, what do you think, when is Vernova going to bounce? And I basically said, its first test is tonight. All that matters is the hyperscalers. We're going to go to see it for the small cap recap, but just PN, one of the small cappers that's running, it's actually fading right now and just bounced shy of the Holt band. The Holt band's sitting at 687. 687 right in here. So it just bounced off the Holt band, but rejected the $8 level. Let's go to see it.
I have 3 names for you for the small cap segment. With the IWM currently down 0.82%. ADVB, Advanced Biomed, is up 76% on the day. No reason, just rallying. This name has just been rallying for the past couple of days. I have been checking it. We are also going to take a look at KSCP over here. That's Nightscope Incorporated, up 44% on the day. It has a preliminary Q2 revenue that has tripled to approximately $9 million. It was 2 days ago, but the name has continued rallying regardless of when the news was reported. Still up 44% on the day. And finally, LABT, that is Lakewood Amdex Biotherapeutics. So NU3, which is a phase 2 candidate that targets the treatment of infected diabetic foot ulcers, has announced resistance data for the same, which is in alignment with the Presidential Advisory Council on Combating Antibiotic-Resistant Bacteria. This name is up 74% on the day.
Thank you there, Sia.
Lots of
and
news.
Slapping in the last trend line, it's actually just a bit underneath break even, but here is the trend. Almost got to fill the gap to the low and then the breakdowns. We held on to the last 10 points, but if it breaks about the 61, I'm going to be jumping out of BM&R. Netflix is not doing anything to be able to get me into it, so be patient with the next trade. Let me just punch it. No, not going to punch it. I'll just leave the stop in there. It came within 1 cent of the stop and then didn't trigger. I was like, I could just punch out myself. No, I'll leave it in there. It just kind of triggered right into it and is now falling back. What would make some sense is to just bid it now if it comes down into the 40s, sort of respect how strong that spike was and just take the last out here or leave the stop in there. What is going on with ETH? Is ETH moving? Not really.
No.
ETH isn't really moving. It might be a reentry. If ETH doesn't do anything, it might end up being a reentry, but there could also just be squeeze going on, like profit taking from all the shorting from earlier. It could easily be the case. But thankfully, we're able to find this one. And then what's hilarious is we had the thing about Brian yesterday and the 2-minute candles. And I have a 3-minute chart up, and I was just looking at the exits on Lucid today. And I was like, oh, yeah. Everything he was like, you hold it. You always get out the low of the day. But like there's the first green candle on the 3-minute, and it's like almost an hour after the entry. Like that's what's crazy. And this is a 3-minute, not a 2-minute. I don't know what a 2-minute looks like. I'm just looking at what I'm looking at, and there is some sense to it. Once it breaks that level, okay, fine. There's a wick there that I want to take some profit out. Probably only take one out there, but then hold to here, and then that's what you got to be doing. So you're always learning something new or like trying to apply something different to your trading. So my focus is now maybe on Netflix here as it tries to pop back into 69. Just looking at the opening range low to be the afternoon high on this. Well, basically a piece of trash. Like the shorts have kind of led the way today, and I'm not giving them up. Even though the NASDAQ is bouncing off VWAP, I'd rather short into something that is weak as opposed to trying to fight something above the volume-weighted average price.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm trying to do every afternoon pretty much is I try to find out what we're thinking about the market and we'll look for that VWAP. And again, you can see the market just bounced off of that. So that's, we just covered, to that point, just covered a little bit more of IBIT right there, right? Just trying to get a little bit more out as we approach back up through VWAP and on a weak name, but something to look at there for sure. What I was thinking about Microsoft, I actually think, and this is part of, SpaceX right now is at its all-time lows. We're $3, $2.50 in now on that one as it keeps going lower. I think Microsoft is a co-pilot as that's been a story, like as that's been more accepted, that drives more business to Azure, right? The minute that people start using Copilot and getting wrapped up, in their enterprise unit and whatnot, getting more and more familiar with the products that Microsoft offers and how they can use AI in your own systems or whatever it might be, right? I'm liking the fact that Copilot and could be a revenue driver for them, and therefore their cloud could actually be a little bit better than maybe what we're expecting there, just from the business being driven from Copilot and people having to say, hey, we're already sort of in bed with Microsoft, so we're also going to use them for our cloud, and then we're going to use them for the AI, which helps that open AI talk a little bit there as well. So we'll wait to see if Microsoft can come up with a good one next week. And it's too bad that they don't report. Like everything happens tonight, and then tomorrow's a little bit quiet with Intel. And then we start to go next
week. It ramps again.
Yeah, next week we get.
Next week is huge.
The big dogs there bark next week. So we'll wait to see if we get any actionable trades off of those ones. Yeah, but here we go again, right? It's the same story again. SpaceX lows. You're just getting another piece out there at 75s as we break down below. I put a bid at 116.30 now, and I just, it's not really too much. Like it was pretty choppy in there at 117.50. I could see maybe the same kind of chop happening right here in and around under 117 and at 116. But I got to change this now. I wanted to make sure I got out of a certain percentage of what I had left, and I'm going to try to work with half now if we break through this 50-period moving average, because this has really been the golden answer there, is to have gone short and maybe not even worried about it until we broke this. And if we had done that, I don't know if we'd make more or less money, because that would have been short right there at 119. And then let's just say it rips right now and we take it and I don't have too many covers. Well, then that would only be $1. And looking over at the math, we've made, a little bit more than that on the amount of shares that we've had because we've have some covers underneath, right? And so, yeah, so far, so good on this look, but we'll have to wait to see if it does take this out. 117.75. So let's put in a new stop there at 117.75, and we'll get out of a little bit of what we have left, more like about half or so of what we have left there on that 117.75 out, which would be your 50-period moving average. So SpaceX, here we go again, man. Another one that looks like it wants to continue its downside push into the close. But it was nice to see VWAP bounce there on the market. So, another thing.
Not much of one.
Not much of one, but at least it gave you a little bit of love there. Those of you looking for some love on IBM, we pulled it out earlier today, and now you are like, as our kids would say, literally at these levels now. This goes all the way back to December of 24. So this is the spot where, the phrase is put up or shut up, and it's kind of like they're going to have to do one or the other tonight. And if they miss again, not again, but, worse than what analysts are expecting, because they've already given us that report that said, lower margins, lower revenue guide based on the action that's floating through to the SK Hynixes and the AMDs of the world. No one really looking at their SaaS models. Everyone's looking at still the data center build out, which doesn't help anything with IBM. And plus you have negative talk today of the software, and they even said that their software numbers have gotten a lot lower. So if those are even worse than projected, then yeah, I don't know, man. It tried to bounce there, and now you're on multiple legs lower here. So I would say, yeah, watch out, man. If it breaks that, then yeah, I don't know. Next level, I don't know.
I don't know what surprises they can come up with.
IBM, just for those of you, because some people in the chat were like, oh, I'm looking for levels to get in on IBM. I mean, you're at a level right now. It's just a matter of, do you think it reports better or worse? And that's a game that is a dangerous one to play. Unless you have that insider information, which I don't suggest you act on if you do have. But there it is, man. Power hour is just upon us. And on that note, SpaceX now at its all-time lows. So let's just keep on bleeding to the downside. I started to cover a little bit more of Bitcoin there, of IBIT. We already know that. I might put another bid right here in the 20s, high 20s, just to get out because of the 50-period moving average right there. So yeah, Bitcoin, we're almost out of it all. We might as well just cover it back up if it takes out 33s. So we could put a bid in right now, cancel my former offer, which was, look, I'm short here at 52. My out was at 60s. So a break right there and we were out. So this was 8 cents worth. We've done well there. So, okay, looks like it's going to take it out right now. Let's just go to 37.36, and that'll be our stop out. We have a small piece left. Let's see what winds up happening there. But that's that. Anything you want to cover before we go to Sia?
Well, I found Rocket Lab that I like, but it's not at the level yet. But I did want to show this because you were talking about how big of a level IBM is on the daily. Well, I'll pull out the weekly. 200-period moving average on a weekly chart. It was a huge breakout level. It was support. This is bad if they lose this bid. I say this as a shareholder. I've held this for quite some time. It gets pretty ugly under here, and it's like, how do you not trim some if it loses 200? Let's go to Sia at the desk, hopefully for some more, for better news than the IBM chart.
Yeah.
The SPY is currently up 19,000%. Let's take a look at what's going on with the sectors. Electric tech right off the bat, NVDA showing strength here, up 3%, over 3% on the day. Apple a bit sliding to the downside, 1%. AVGO's up 2.9%, very close to 3%. Micron continuing trading flat with GE and Cisco from earlier in the day. You have AMD up close to 2%. INTC inching close to being down 1% with with Dell up 9.3% on the day. TXN will be reporting today as well, up 1%. We're going to take a look at tech services. Google also reporting after the bell, trading flat at the moment. Meta down 2.7% and Microsoft down 2.2%. You have Oracle, Palantir continuing their rally to the downside, I would say, from earlier in the day. PANW and IBM down over 2% as well. But you have Netflix that was strong earlier in the day, up 2%, reversed all its gains, and is currently trading flat a bit to the negative side. Finance, you have BRKB continuing to be flat from earlier in the day, but JPM seems to have made a little bit of a reversal, up 0.74%. Visa and MasterCard down on the day, Visa very close to 0.70%, and MasterCard is over 1%. MSGS all up on the day. WFC is down, and AXP City trading flat. Retail trade, Amazon down 1.5%, very close to. Walmart down over 1.1%. Costco trading relatively flat, but still a bit inching close towards the 1% mark, towards the red. Home Depot trading flat. TJX also trading flat. One name that I want to take a look at is CVNA. They're down 2.9% at the moment. Moving on to health tech, you have Lilly still down 1.4% on the day, with J&J holding its strength from earlier in the day, up 1.5%. ABBV down 1%, and MRK down up 1.2%. Producer manufacturing, you have AMAT down 0.80%, but CAT and LRCX are very flat at the moment. GEV continuing sliding towards the downside after the earnings report we saw earlier in the day that came before the bell today, down 7.74% to be precise. Consumer non-durables, you have KOPG up a little bit on the day. PG is inching closer to 1%, but PM also on its earnings reports, we saw a solid increase over there. It's up 3% on the day. Energy minerals, I'm seeing a considerable amount of strength in this sector, not for names MPC and VLO, however. Name EQT is the strongest in the sector, leading the entire board by 7.7% in energy minerals. Utilities, this might be one of the strongest sectors of the day. All the names in the green, pretty strong. CEG is up over 4.5%, with VST up 3% as well. EIX up over 2.9%. NRG up 5%. Only two names that are not reacting at all are right over here. You have AES and PNW. We're also going to take a look at the other industries, process industries. You have industrial sectors. You also have here commercial services and transportation. A lot of these sectors, a mixed bag, I would say, reacting negatively and positively and flat. There's not a lot going on. Transport, you have Dash down over 5.5%. FedEx holding a certain strong momentum, up closer to 2%, and Uber sliding closer down to 2%. Finally, I'm going to take a look at two sectors here, communication and non-energy. Communication team is flat, fully flat on the day. Verizon up closer to 1%. AT&T that reported today as well, up 2.18%. Echo sliding to the downside, 2.5%. Finally, look at non-energy, NEM, FCX, STLD, and MLM, all up on the day, over 2%, whereas MLM up 0.81%.
Thank you, Sia, for that information. Just one note here. Chipotle, we did see it in the chat. People are asking what's going on with Chipotle. All I was able to find is they're saying it's concerns over the cyclospora outbreak. Yeah. But nothing specific. Not like there's nothing hard here in terms of like evidence or anything. So it's down on volume. So there's obviously a there, but there are absolutely no specifics in the thing that I was looking at. That's from yesterday anyway. So it's entirely possible there's some like speculation that there's more, because it was already dropping on Monday and sort of looking weak. But there's nothing new. It's just a story from earlier in the week that this could be the concern. There's nothing new happening whatsoever. But that's pretty decent volume for it to be falling. So we'll keep our ear to the ground on that. I mean, I can't imagine. There's too many people that are day trading Chipotle. My first thought was, if that stock gets smoked because of this outbreak, most times that you have that kind of a reason for a stock falling, it tends to be a buying opportunity, but I don't really know enough about this outbreak. I haven't been following it to get a sense of like how serious it is.
No, I don't
like,
think you
who
want
are they suspecting? I don't really know.
Well,
too
it was
much
they
about
expecting there was the salads that they sell at Costco, and then they said no to that. It was Taylor Farms.
Yeah, like they have no idea what is responsible for it.
I think it is the iceberg, shredded iceberg lettuce, but I don't know. It was Taco Bell got hit on that, and I don't think you want to buy Chipotle, McDonald's, Wendy's, any of these things until that dust settles. That's all. Like, just don't.
Yeah, like once they know.
Be careful with it until you get maybe the answer there on what's going on. We bought some more SpaceX down there. We are. I'm not going to change this. It's still 17.75, but it is a nice move to the long side right now on SPCX as we start buying back up. And it's funny because at 116.60 or so, I actually saw a lit order come for 50,000 shares. Like, imagine seeing a 500 show up here. Well, that's what happened. It got absolutely run over, and someone took it out. Like someone sold into that 50,000, but then it kind of just bounced and kept going there. So someone bought 50,000 shares down there at 1660 or something like that. I could probably go back and find it on the tape when it slows down. Not this tape. I have to get it off eSignal, but that sort of started this little move higher right now. So definitely someone buying SpaceX. I don't know if they meant to show all 50,000 there, but upside move right now for SPCX, trying to get back. And I'm going to stop out at 1775 and just have a very, very small piece
Probably a
left.
panic.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Like someone's not stepping in to buy it, I wouldn't think, but we'll wait.
It's like a short cover.
Like I said, yeah, maybe someone that bought yesterday at 128 is averaging in right now down at 117.
Oh, shoot, that reminds
But
me.
okay, Amazon. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up to Ure Bros there? I just saw you there in the chat. We can definitely put your comment up there. We said we missed something there on Microsoft. So we could definitely gave you guys a layup on Microsoft Snipe. So yeah, that's good. Let's talk about it. What level were you looking at there for Softy? Probably could have been. I mean, I talked about it. I like the name. I do like Microsoft. The Nasdaq's trying to battle back upside. Maybe you're talking about. I mean, that wasn't much of a snipe if it's down there. Snipe generally means like it breaks a level you're in and then watching it go. So was it a break of the 200 period? Maybe it was 389 upside right there. Let me know there. I bought the 230 bottom candle at 230, Jura says there. So, right into here maybe? Yeah, well, I mean, that was a good break lower there and then boom, right back there to the upside. So yeah, I think that was a great one if you're able to catch that bottom somehow. And I think it was a good look there when you look back at it. Well, by the way, SpaceX going lower, we like that. Yeah, so you said this 230, that's right here. So yeah, I would see this, that little breakout level right there. So there's the breakout, the move down, there's the break, and then it coming back in, snipe that, and then straight there to the upside. Yeah, good look there. Whoever nailed that one.
Sniper, no sniping.
Nice one. Yeah, shout out to Dora there. But yeah, so there it goes. Good move there on Microsoft as awful. Its move is way back up. Looking to maybe get short, 390 could be something there on Microsoft. But, the market bounced nicely there off VWAP. So we'll continue to hold on to everything and see what ones are happening next.
It did bounce. Netflix didn't give the bounce, but I was sort of alluding to before we went to CA in there. I was looking for Rocket Lab as it broke consolidation, held, like it's been trending down like bear, what do we call this? Like, it's not really, is it a bear flag? It's probably a bear flag. I'm not a chart market technician, but you guys see the channel at the bottom? So it broke to the top end and now right back into the low. I'm looking low of the day, but also prior. It's not the prior day close because like it did a jaunt like right up at the end of the day to get to like 69.42. But I'm basically looking at this bottoming tail wick for an exit point. Here's Rocket Lab's also getting blasted too. Like if you wonder, like SpaceX is not just like selling off every single day. I have a point about that in a second. But it's taken a few things down with it. Like ASTS, Rocket Labs, even when they have good news, Rocket Labs actually had positive news this morning, and they're going to be heading back down. And same thing's happening with ASTS. I can pull up UFO, but you know what's going on there. I imagine Sidu, I haven't even looked at this, but be surprised if it's not at the lows, as anyone would expect, even when they have some strength. But the weird thing about SpaceX is, I feel like this is like a pattern. Like this is the second day in a row, at least for myself, where it's like, yeah, there's the area, the one place that it works, the short. Like the one place where, like yesterday, this was the one place that it worked. They had this short yesterday. And then look what happens when it breaks the level that it bounces off. Like that entry. And then there's this short and that entry. Granted, whatever, I wasn't even here when it broke that level, so don't at me, I was on my walk. But it's where it bounced in the morning where you're like, oh yeah, the short's working. And when it bounced, that was it. Like that was it ended up being a flat bottom break at the low. That's the same thing. Like here, if you got the top in the morning, then like yesterday, then your out was 127 at best. When 127 lost, it was dead. And same thing again here today. So that's a pattern I'm going to try to play some respect for tomorrow. But for now, the Scalp and Rocket Lab is going to be in. There is one thing about the earnings tonight that is, like, see this vote? It's now up to 60% for Alphabet. IBM is actually lower. I think IBM was like 9 or 10. It's now 7% for IBM. ServiceNow is up at 13%. Think about that. Like IBM is the one that already told you how bad it was going to be, and they're down at 7%. ServiceNow is at 14, and we don't know for them. Another software name getting absolutely smoked. If the sentiment is that bad, the bar is the lowest for these guys. Like by far, they have the lowest bar for IBM. So it does give it that chance. And it's at that monster level. I just feel like they just have to not screw up tonight. And if it's not down tomorrow, then if it's even a little bit up, that still gives it some relief rally potential as well. It's so one-sided. And not that our vote is gospel or anything, but oftentimes if nobody expects something to happen, like that's the last thing they're looking for, what happens when it does? Everyone's caught off guard, and then you get a better rally than you would normally get.
Using Google over there.
60% Alphabet.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think Alphabet is like a chalk name, right? I mean, a lot of people want that to go up, and I think there are reasons, but we'll continue to ride the bear here in crypto. I mean, we get it falls right into again our lap right there. So good so far so good on that out. It looks like there for BTC for IBIT. As we look at those levels and see if we can get just a little bit more excitement into this name to the downside. But we're pretty much covered up now on that trade. And I don't know, do we take a 116? I mean, my best fill on this is 116.30s. You're now below that, into all-time lows again here for SpaceX. So, still going lower there. DRAM today was exciting because it's one of the names that, or one of the ETFs, I guess, instruments that has a nice run in it now and is above VWAP. There's not too many things right now that are looking like this. As the NASDAQ comes back in right here, it's starting to bleed a little to the downside, obviously. And DRAM in for hopefully a hold. I mean, this VWAP area isn't horrible there, 57.65. I mean, it matches with this. You can draw your little line there. And, and as we had Brian on yesterday, and as we talk about the different trade strategies and whatnot, VWAP isn't like, oh my God, it's at VWAP, therefore this has to do something. It's just an area that you're looking at. So you've come back in and bounced there, bounced again, bounced off, that's 57.65, I don't know why, bouncing off there. So it's given you a couple data points. Like it was good, fell, broke, kind of like retested, and now it's coming in to look to retest again, 57.60. So not only do you have the past performance on the day, but then you have VWAP just a little bit lower there at 57. Let's call that 57.62. This is 65. So, getting along in the 60s, I think is okay. And then maybe you want to hold that, up to you, but maybe 10 cents. Like you want a firm break of VWAP. Like right into here, we broke it, but that was at, that's 56.30. That very bottom wick is 56.10, so that's 20 cents. So if you want to use that as a guide, give yourself 20 cents or so for downside risk there. But DRAM, could be something coming in right now as we look for more trade opportunities and different trade ideas. Nothing. ADVB, Sia brought this to our attention. It's been on the show all day.
There's one going I'm trying to look up here.
Yeah, there's PN.
It is the PN. I see everyone in the chat mentioning PN.
Are they? Okay.
I don't see a story. Thanks, Adara.
Oh, sorry. Couldn't find any news here. Nothing that I saw here. News-wise on PN. There was a lot of social media attention. But even with the social media attention, it seemed kind of manufactured to me. Like there's a lot of people sharing almost the exact same post, which I always find to be a little seedy when I see it.
Well, it's in the energy space, right? I mean, it's PN Smart Energy Limited. Obviously, don't know anything about it. It's got who are their peers, like SkyX, ChargePoint as well. But it's not a huge, 7 million flow, not a lot of it's short. So without a story, it's not like it's not an exorbitantly small short float, to be honest with you. Like if it was less than 1 million shares, it's like, yeah, you don't need a story when the float's that small if it just gets going. And it's not like a big short float either. So I'm hesitating with this. But one reminder, you have to always do this. And that we always show the daily chart when it's one of these crazy 100% or 200% type of runners, and understand that when they do flip, they can fall back down to earth much faster, or sometimes even farther than they came from, or even much faster than you might expect. There are bag holder levels right about here at $9, and then through there it's like 11 and a half or so. Shoot, I thought I saw a super chat out of the corner of my eye, or there was a message or something. I know I saw something on the program, but there we are from TikTok. Danger Carlene. Hey to you, all of our viewers, whether you're TikTok, we appreciate you. If you got a symbol you're interested in, let us know. Obviously, YouTube, TikTok doesn't really make a difference. It's whatever you guys are interested in and want to watch. But just be careful with this. Skeptical of the ones that have zero story. Like, there's got to be something happening here, I would think. But yeah, I wouldn't personally be chasing a no news story at the highs at the end of the day. What was the one from yesterday? What did we say? It was CH, China, CNH,
CPHI or CHPI, one of those.
CPHI. Yeah. I'm not saying this is going to happen. This is not. I'm not saying this is going to happen to it, but sometimes they just die. This is a little bit different. They actually announced an offering. Good thing they didn't announce the offering when it was at like $17. Imagine how bad it would be if they announced the offering when it's actually at the top, as opposed to in the pre-market right before the open, which is pretty nasty to do as well. That said, it's better than doing so right at 9:30. Let's go back up to the desk. We've got Sia with an update.
Yeah.
Let's look at what the money markets are up to, starting with the pair USD JPY, very flat on the day at the moment. Finance Minister Satsuki Katayama has said today that Japan will be taking decisive action in the currency market if needed, signaling Tokyo's readiness to intervene in the market as the yen slid to a 40-year low, also saying that the government was ready to, quote-unquote, respond as appropriate at any time, in a sign of Tokyo's alarm over the sagging currency, which also pushes up the costs of imports and broader inflation overall. Let's take a look at DXY here. So the dollar had dipped to a one-week high earlier today. From a one-week high earlier today, I apologize. After 4 straight daily advances, currently the dollar is also relatively flat, but down 0.06% on the day. Currently sitting at 101.129 to be very precise, consolidating minor gains after a certain recent bounce.
All right, I'm going to here's PN. So this name is starting to go again. Just watch out, because this is that $8 mark that we saw back in May. So obviously some good action right now on PN as it's starting to go. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 300 million. So ATM at the money. Oh yeah,
look, I just want to give credit to Mixed here. Now I haven't confirmed whether this is true or not, and obviously everybody should be. But consider this for any gap or a runner small cap. If you're considering holding one overnight, you should at least do the diligence to know whether or not they have an active, they can just drop an offering on you at the moment, or do they have to file, and then it could be days or weeks before they could drop an offering on you. If they could do it at any moment, do you really want to be caught holding the bag when it's up 100%? And you're holding overnight thinking continuation, and you know they have 300 mil they can drop. So it's just one of those due diligence things that, look, I don't swing trade and own penny stocks like that. I've done it in the past, like once or twice, and yeah, you do just, it doesn't take you very long to do that check. And this was years ago before AI. It's probably like a heck of a lot easier now than it was like 5 or 6 years ago. Probably the last time I was in one of these. Nick Dubs, do you like the long swing on Dell on the daily and the weekly? I like Dell in general. I am trying to take a long swing, good company in that space. Absolutely good company. Every time someone asks about SMCI, my answer is usually Dell. So it's got a great looking bull flag. You said the weekly, I'm assuming, because I know the weekly because I looked at it this morning. I absolutely love the bull flag. It's at the absolute top end of the range here, though. So like, when you want to, I don't know, like my brain would tell me if I was swinging, I'd want to be buying in at the low of this range, and then being able to give it to the low instead of buying the top end of the bull flag. I suppose that could be nitpicking. Maybe you're already in and you just want to see what everyone else is saying. But keep in mind, like SMC, if it's good for SMCI, it's good for Dell. One of these stocks is upward trending and the other one is downward trending. It's much easier to look for long positions in upward trending stocks, I believe. So you got it right there. Buy good companies if you can. I always look at it this way. If you lose on a strong-looking trend stock or buying in a good company, you're going to feel a heck of a lot better than if you lose buying something that's been telling you that it's weak. Trust me, that's just how it goes. It's the same thing. Like I tell the kids, look, man, when it's player pitch, and these are 9-year-olds, I don't care if you swing. If you go down swinging at a good pitch, I'm never going to say a word. Never. If it's to foot over your head, fine. Hey, let's wait for ours, that kind of a thing. If you stare down something down the middle, like, I want you taking hacks. You're there to hit. You're there to learn the game. Like, don't worry about swinging and missing. It's baseball. It's trading. It's investing. You will lose. But just lose at something that was in the zone as opposed to chasing something over your head.
Always good advice there. I'm sure.
Which you know a lot of kids do.
I'll have some kids chasing tonight for sure. We've got 3 call-ups as most of the team is on summer vacay. But it's always nice to have the call-up.
Yeah, this time of year is like.
So that'll be good. All right, so yeah, thanks everybody. We've got Sia behind us. We've got Adara here as well. So, keep the questions coming here in the chat. I was just looking at the NASDAQ. It's kind of doing nothing right now. And then I was looking at Intel maybe for a trade. It's already 324. We could get some downside push. I've been covering a little bit more SpaceX here, but we've been talking about it, so whatever. It's at 116.50. Yeah, this is interesting here, VWAP as well. We talked about that VWAP on DRAM. Almost looks the complete opposite of this, where DRAM was above and bouncing into VWAP. Intel, because the market started to push down, and I've lost on the short already today. That's what I was trying to look at. I was like, why was I shorting it into these levels? But it was right into there. And that's where we wound up getting out. Just didn't think that this was going to rip off. And we didn't even start it until it was already, like Intel starts today at 101.50, a same key spot from yesterday. And that was actually yesterday's trade that we got stopped out on was right here. And that's basically the level between 100. I mean, that was at 9 o'clock, so we don't worry about that. But right off the open, 101. Looks like that's a good little hold spot there for Intel. And then once it came up through, we're just like, nah, man, this is just way too much. Like, it was up 3 or 4% there in the first 10 or 15 minutes. And we shorted that and obviously got blown out. But now you're kind of making a way back down in right there underneath VWAP. We'll see if there's some love there for Intel. We can check back on that DRAM trade. Nothing's halting right now. We've been looking for a while. Nothing's halted for 30 minutes. Again, so there's DRAM, and we were saying it was coming right into these levels that you could have bought any kind of dip, but that kind of stopped. It didn't get into 57.60, so now that's starting to go back there to the upside. And just remember, I've already retweeted this out. Right now, I want to thank all. Let me see how many of you have looked at the sticky note today. 5,500. Thank you so much for checking that out. Oh, and by the way, this trade right there is your short of the day. SpaceX 125 short. The high of the day on SpaceX right now, SpaceX is printing 116 lows. The high of the day on SpaceX, and I'll put this in there. You guys can go have a look at it if you want. The high of the day on SpaceX, as if we wrote this at 12 o'clock, right there was, and you got it, nailed it, 124.90 right there, the high of the day. And we don't have anything. We weren't sitting here at that time, which we were, 125. Maybe next time I'll just put an offer there with a stop, but there it goes, downside. And we finally get involved. You're never too late to get involved in a good trade. And right there, downside on 119, and boom, right there, goes right to the top of the board today, SpaceX. We don't even start trading this till 2 o'clock, and it's the number one stock. So there goes SpaceX, very, very good there. Number one losing stock I have also is the TQs. So, a little bit of both of these, but there it goes to the downside now. And then IBIT, just a couple more covers right there as we try to break. My stop is still here, break at 35, but we're able to get that bid at the 50 period of 26. So there it goes there. But yeah, just waiting for SpaceX to do something in IBIT. Those are the two trades. And I don't mind that Intel, if we can get a short around 105, I think that's something. And then why I actually called up my account here is because this is what's happening tonight, right? I mean, Adara's already done all the work here, so we say thank you, Adara. We do have, I have a button for that. It's right here.
Thank you very much, Adara.
So there it goes, man. 9% for Texas Instruments, CSX, Google, Tesla, LVS, ServiceNow, and IBM. We are all staying late. Oh, yeah. And a big shout out there. If we put that super chat up right now, if we have it, Andre, I
got it.
Okay, good. So MF Dane, man,
Yeah,
thank you for all the contributions on my Twitter, as well as the $10 right here, showing gratitude for our closing show, which starts back up today. with these 4 big names right in front of us there. So yeah, we're going to stay a quarter after, so give you guys all the updates with the moving names here this afternoon. There's more than this. So if you are interested in any kind of a name there, join us tonight, and we'll do our best to cover the stocks for you.
Fabian's still setting up over there, making sure we're locked and loaded and ready to go. It's going to be a good one. 30 minutes to go for that. But I'm going to actually use the, it's a 3, not a 2. But hey, we shorted the pop, the next lower high. And then the second we had, I did wait for the bar after the first green 3-minute bar and then punched out. So I'll take it. Maybe we could have got an extra 20, 30 cents out of it, but going to look for the next opportunity to try to short a pop. We have about 15 to 20 minutes before I'm concerned about whether it's an imbalance trade. There's nothing crazy in here. I don't even know what MGY is. And then that's like a treasury product. Citigroup is a buy of 1 million. JP Morgan's a sell of 1 million. So pretty much a nothing burger. UTZ, that's actually a buyout from the other day, from yesterday, I believe, as well. And then KO. So nothing too crazy on the locator, but I wouldn't want to be getting into position too close to the imbalances. All right. Lee, Broadcom is going nuts. You know, earlier this morning, when I think there was discussion about NVIDIA and how strong NVIDIA was, Broadcom was also going ham. Value on Broadcom. Broadcom, remember we were talking about this a couple of days ago, maybe it was probably last week. And when Broadcom hit the 200 period moving average, it slapped into the 4 P went to the teens on Broadcom. Like, that's a pretty good value for Broadcom. And so you might start to see this, and I think it's true of NVIDIA as well. Like, it got so cheap relative to the other big players in the market that suddenly the buyers are just a little bit more present because, well, they'd rather buy the name that's contracted and then has got that. They've got better justification for at least their buying on the dip because, let's be real, you get, if the market's still in the mid-20s and NVIDIA's at 19 and Broadcom's at 19, that starts to look a heck of a lot more appealing than some of these names are still sitting in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s and God forbid even higher than that sometimes. We got another super chat. Can you explain the implied moves again? I could get Joey options up there, but just it is a fluid concept because all they look at is all of the open interest and puts and calls in and around this, whatever the earnings name might be, and then you basically get a moving target. But as you're getting more buying and selling, that could move. It starts to compress because, well, let's be real, like at 4 o'clock, it's going to start moving on those earnings. But really, it's just a calculation based on all the bets that are being made in the options market going into any individual stock. And it's not even like it's not a concept that only applies to earnings because there's options trading on these things all the time. Like, NVIDIA's not reporting, but you could find out what the expected move is on this sucker before Friday. It's just that you wouldn't have the catalyst. Let's go. We have another super chat, but we're going to go back up to the desk first, and we'll get that one for you. Mint cheese. Did you see this, Joe?
Sorry about that, Neil. Let's take a look at crypto, what's going on with the crypto markets, and then we'll send it right back for the super chat. And then you have Juan joining us, talking to you about Asian markets, if I'm right. Yes, Asian markets. You have BTC USD currently down on the day, very close to 1%. Ethereum down 0.13%, I apologize. And Solana, that's down 0.53%, I apologize. So we have BTC starting with trading around the $65,800 region, very close to $65,900 here. Ethereum, I want to take a look at, sorry about that, currently trading around $1,927 region, and Solana around $77.6. So now Balance Coin, that is a low circulation algorithmic stablecoin, is meant to hold a dollar peg, has crashed more than 99% as of today after an attacker exploited a pricing flaw in the protocol behind it. There's a blockchain that showed this kind of activity. The token that traded near a $1 peg a day earlier has fallen to about, stay with me, $0.0014, nearly erasing all of its roughly $3.5 million in nominal value. That's all for your crypto. Right back to the guys.
Thanks, yeah. I mean, I said we had a super chat to get to. You never really know. Like, the problem is I started reading it, And oh, come on, you can't do this. So this super chat is from, because you have
We'll
to.
take the $10.
We'll take the $10, but it's from Mint Cheese Pickle Sanger Cornetto. Why not? For the increased electricity bill with all these big screens running overtime in the earnings season. Well, speaking of them running overtime, they're probably on. I'm just going to spill the beans here for a second. They're probably on longer than they need to be. Sometimes some of these screens and some of these lights. If we really could, I'm just saying, like, we'll be sitting here in the morning and the show's not on yet, but these lights are blaring down at us. I'm just throwing that out there. Got to put on my blue light glasses before the show starts.
Yeah, it's a little bright.
No,
we appreciate it. Little bright.
It is a little bright.
But yeah, shout out to everybody there. Thank you for the super chats. And if Joe joins us, then that 10 euros is gone completely because we got to pay him extra and all that kind of stuff right there. Hey, Joe, nice phone case. Right there, my guy.
You guys are twinning.
There we go. We're twinning. Right there. Shout out to Amazon. $10 on Amazon.
He shaved his head without letting me know. We're gonna line it up again.
Hell, Joe? He's shaving it. How often? How often you guys shaving? A couple times a week.
I do it every time. Like I know I need to, so I'll go home and I'll turn to my daughter and say, "Is it okay if Daddy shaves his head?" And if she gives me the puppy dog, "Please don't," then I don't. If she says it's okay, then I do. Keep it simple. Yeah, my hairstyle is determined by my 9-year-old daughter and whether she thinks it looks good on Daddy or not that day.
Yeah, Fabian's going to be dead very soon. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to keep on talking about everything you guys want us to, really. Thanks, Sia, there for the look at the dollar a while back about the USD they're going through. We do have USO as well, looking at something here today. I mean, it's not really moving around too much. They're 133 top and change there for USO, making a move back into 132 right now. We're going to go over to one and Adara at the desk, but yeah, USO. It's just I wish there was a little bit more happening right now. I mean, the NASDAQ is trying, and we can, I've given you DRAM, a little look at Intel there, some kind of a look at different opportunities that are going to present themselves. But for right now, let's go to the back and talk and see what opportunities One and Adara have on their minds.
Yeah, President Trump right now actually just beginning to speak here at a high school in Georgia. So that's happening. But what's happening right now over here with us is talking about the Asian markets with One.
Thank you, Adara. So, Asian markets extending their gains overnight, a massive rebound in semiconductor as well as tech, shrugging off any geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. If we take a look at some of the indexes, Taiwan, they were the regional leaders, up by 1.54%. They definitely maintained their solid green territory, and everyone's going back into global chip demand. You can see TSMC also up by about 1.3% overnight. In South Korea, KOSPI also up marginally. That was led by Samsung Electronics, rising about 0.68%. But we can see in Japan, a little bit marginally lower. They had a 2% morning technology spike, but they did go below the tape. Maybe feeling a little bit cautious ahead of earnings from Alphabet and Tesla. But if we want to talk about the open, let's talk about the open. Alphabet earnings, of course. Those results will serve as a definitive indicator, especially for Taiwan and South Korean desks, especially in data center capex. We have to take a look at those specific numbers. Data center capital expenditure. If there's any deceleration in those numbers from Alphabet, that will definitely trigger some selling, especially for stocks like TSMC and SK Hynix. Now, KOSPI's 7,000 resistance retest, we know that they dropped a little bit last week, but they failed to go over the 7,000 threshold. But watch tomorrow's volume closely, especially after the Alphabet earnings. If foreign funds resume some block buying or maybe some margin liquidations, especially, will accelerate the downtrend for the KOSPI. Now, in India, the 23,830 will be your support line. Check if the N50 or the Nifty 50, there might be a short squeeze back over 24,000. We did hear that President Trump's got some proposed tariffs on generic drug imports for that region. So that triggered a lot of panic selling, especially in pharmaceuticals in India. So if those tariff anxieties increase or persist, that might have a breach below today's lows, and it would be a quick drop down the 50-day moving average at 23,830. So watch out for that in India.
Lots to watch out for. You can always watch out in this space at 11:30 a.m. and 3:30 p.m., where one will cover the European markets and the Asian markets, respectively. In the meantime, back to the guys.
Thank you, One and Dara there. And also thank you to Dave for becoming a new member. And if you become a member, you are going to get Sharif's morning note. If we have that ad, we can put that up right now too. But if we don't, you can just come over to my screen quickly and I can show you. This is what the note looks like right here today. Talking about why the surge in oil, potential levels you may want to look at, what the bias is, what your trade plan are, what the mindset for execution. And that is for every single story that we have there today. So today's, 14 pages or so. You get Google, AI, and talk about useful information once earnings season starts. Here's SpaceX, first Lockup. So you want some questions about Lockup, it's all into here, August 4th, August 6th, 20% of their unlocked shares, 10% becoming available. Like there's just all this information here that Sharif and Joe sort of go through during the midday show when they do their news segment at 1 p.m. You can join along, follow them. But for only $5 a month, you get all that and you get some fun little emojis like Blicky Spears just got there. You get to become green here in the chat and just help support the show for $5 a month. And it gives just a little bit of extra revenue, as you said, to keep these lights on around here. I want to thank Sharif for the work he's doing on the morning note. But back over to Adara.
Let's talk about NVIDIA. NVDA in focus. We know that some comments have been made here by Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA, recently about the Chinese government here and how the U.S. government should not be banning or restricting China AI models. He did this interview with Axios. We saw some of this earlier, but I'm seeing it circulate again today. So I just want to mention it. Like when I say today, I mean right now. During this interview with Axios, NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said, quote, "The U.S. has nothing to fear from China's open source AI models," and also adding that, quote, "There is no scenario where China runs U.S. companies off the road." So yeah, again, this interview happened at least a day ago, circulating right now. Thought I'd mention. Also, President Trump is still talking in a Georgia high school. Back to you.
July 10th.
Right,
yeah.
So 25%. So
in
thank
1,
you, Adara.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 days.
So 8 days, SpaceX is off 25%-ish.
Yeah, and you give another 25%, and that breaks you through that hunch. So, and that's going to be a problem.
This is by the time you get to earnings, I think I didn't do the math, but I think it is probably close to $80 at this current bleed rate.
Oh, well, at this bleed rate, you're not,
Maybe even
it's
further
gonna be,
than that?
it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't think SpaceX continues to bleed like this. I just took a 116 fill, but, it's $3. It's bleeding down. Like, obviously, we wish we held the whole damn thing, but there it goes, man, just making it worse and worse and worse for everybody. As I just took another fill there at 115.85, but boom, SpaceX downside. Wish we just would have held the whole thing. It's down and not looking any better, guys.
Nope, absolutely not, and it will not get any better for sure. And there was Scott in the chat was asking about this name. I'm pretty sure tomorrow Lucid's gonna fall over itself again. You know what happened?
Please tell me people have sold their positions.
Well, see, here's the thing. If it was 550 when they were talking about bankruptcy, and okay, fine, it was fake, but it went down to 250. Then it starts squeezing. Well, look at the hard top at 7.5. Now it's losing the support that it had for this week, and the next bid sits, I think I said 620 in the chat, and then from there, $5.50. This one is going to be a short. You got to pay for it tomorrow, and I think the same thing is probably true on absolute sympathy. We're going to get Tesla tonight. Let's not forget, like, all the EV names are bleeding in. Rivian's also giving up its gains from last week. Not that there were much. One of them was a squeeze name. The other one is absolutely nasty as well.
And SpaceX is down 50%, down $110.
Well, I'm being unfair.
highs.
I'm saying the 150 because that's where I bought in front. Like, it's, if we talk about it from the highs, which is what we should be doing. Like, I was cherry picking where I bought, which is not even.
Yeah, you bought 150. Thankfully, I bought.
That's not relevant, but
well,
from the highs is more relevant. You're right.
Oh no, it's not about your not being relevant. I mean, no. I'm just saying, like, it's this is the halfway mark. Like, it was 230. That is what it was. So right now you just touched 115. Like, we actually have a fill down there at 115.85.
Hang on.
There on SpaceX. So Yeah, I mean, there's more than emotional damage being done right now. There's financial damage being done, and even people in the chat.
That guy doesn't get paid.
Yeah, people in the chat talking about, oh look, only 2,000 messages since I last refreshed this. Man, we have such a great community. Someone in here said they just lost $5,000 on it. Right there, I don't know where it was, but yeah, those of you that have been trading into SpaceX, you know, it's going to be one of those trades that you're probably not going to feel bad for getting out right now. Like if your idea is like, what have I done? Then you may be wondering more about your life decisions in the next couple of days, because we wrote down the 125 short, right? And I'm going to be trying to prop up, you know, this stock when there's reasons to, and when there's not, you know, it's just, like I said, I can't find the reason why. We wrote down 125, we don't have it, but I can't find the reason where someone's gonna come in and just all of a sudden buy this name up. I don't see the catalyst for bids right now.
I can think of one.
I mean, maybe ahead of August 4th.
I think it'll basically be, it could end up being down so much going into the lockup that it bounces because everyone's expecting sell and so much selling's already happened. That's the one thing that stands out outside of some kind of earnings surprise. We have a super chat here.
That's what I think. I mean, it might actually bounce days leading up to the report.
Yeah, I can. With the reports on the 7th
about it.
So if that's in the middle of the week, then think about it on the Monday. Like the week that they report, start thinking about it on the Monday, maybe. The SQ analyst.
Down.
If we held hostage aside, I was about to show you the chart because I agree down for this reason. Hey, we made a nice bounce. We double top. Everyone's going to be concerned about Alphabet here tonight. So just look at who's reporting tonight. And really, we're in front of that resistance point.
No, it's like, lest we forget what happened last earnings season. These were huge
They sold
reports,
every single.
and
They sold them anyways. They sold them anyway.
Like it didn't matter what the report was. You know, NVIDIA, great report, sold off. The NASDAQ sold off. You know, so my guess would be down.
Also, the trend on the Qs is downward sloping since the highs as well. So
Wow,
the trend is also your friend.
Kathy Wood, man, do not buy SpaceX with her. Trump on Iran, we do not need the Hormuz Strait. Well, you do, but we do need it. Oh, wait a minute. We don't need the Hormuz Strait, but we do because we have to do it.
Yeah, he's saying, sorry, it's because we do it because we have to do it. Like he's saying, I guess Iran, like bombing. I directly quoted him there, so a lot of things were said.
I get it, yeah.
But yeah, basically the point he's trying to make is we don't need the Strait, but also we need Iran to not have a nuclear weapon.
Right.
But yeah, I am seeing this whole we don't need the Hormuz Strait quote circulating a bit.
Yeah, so I think he's trying to get at the fact that like they need it for security reasons, but they themselves, the United States with Venezuela and all the oil that they have.
Oh, the U.S. is producing like crazy.
Yeah, potentially don't need to worry about it, but for the rest of the world, they will worry about it. So
and they could, and the thing is,
that's what I take from it.
Like the U.S. could be upping production if they wanted to in the next couple of years, and that gas production's at all time. Well, I don't know if it's all time high, but it's certainly at ridiculous highs. Like look at the supply just going through the roof there. So I kind of get that sentiment, but if we're being real. No, like the world needs a Strait. It's like if you think about it, like maybe you say you don't need it, but remember that thing called inflation?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, that thing is a problem. We've already seen the Fed fund, like the chances of a rate hike are already going up. Again, they came all the way back down, but now they're starting to creep up again, and it doesn't get any better unless you secure that. Or forget, open it up. Secure is not the right word. Open it up is what matters.
I wonder if these imbalances are going to come positive or negative for SpaceX.
It hasn't had one the last little bit. It was. Remember, it was a small buy yesterday.
I'm gonna cover some more IBIT.
I'm gonna put it up here just so I have it on my solo watch list. Actually, I'll put all the earnings names too, because this one has everything. So what I usually do, I'll even show you. I'll make a list and it says close show, and then I put all the symbols that right at 350. I just want to look at like the 3 or 4, so I can go like IBM, and then I can go. Google, whoops, but that's NASDAQ, that kind of a deal. And then that way, I'll have an imbalance locator that's just sort of key names that you're watching and not everything on the board. It's just an easy trick. And if you're at Real Trading, hey, there you go. If you want, sponsored by Real Trading. I didn't even see that was there. Scan the QR code if you are interested. The campus programs might be going again.
Yeah, it might be. We don't know. Go check it out there, campus program.
Be possible.
I just took another bid on, I've been buying these 115s. It's just really because, I mean, I'm now bidding 115 13s. I don't really know why I picked that number 13, but we'll wait there on the downside now. We just got some more covers. And, you know, this has been a live trade that we took, you know, basically with you guys. This is 215 right here, and downside since then. So it's funny because we just missed our reload. We were at 119.50 there against 120. All of this short, now $3 in, was just giving us $1 worth of range. I was going to stop out if it broke through 120, and now we've actually, look how good the 50 period moving. Actually, you know what? I got to cancel that stop right here because I have way less shares now. So yeah, we'll just watch it. That 50 period moving average has been golden to the downside there, and just bouncing it off. And you know what? I asked a sort of rhetorical question: who's actually going to step in and buy this thing, or what's going to happen? The ending imbalance could be a buy, because some traders that may be short from 120, from 125, from weeks ago, who knows where they're short, they could put a bid to cover at the close, right? So if you see like a 1 million buy, that'll shoot the stock up $1. But that doesn't mean that someone's actually buying it. Like, we don't know if it's going to be a cover of a short or what it is. So we'll have to wait to see that. And I just right now put out another IBIT fill. So just getting, fill by fill here. We'll wait to see if we do get a downside push there, but we are going to stop out above VWAP if that winds up happening. So it's been a real productive and real, energetic here afternoon. And I hope you guys are enjoying the show as we get ready for 12 more minutes until big time tech earnings hit, right? We're going to have, I don't know, Joe, are you staying with us or? Yeah, okay, good. Joe's going to be here with us there, so that should be really fun and exciting. And Daryl will be here, C will be here. We'll all be sitting here talking about these earnings. And it won't be too long, but we'll give you the good ones, and they all hit right away, right?
They're all in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, the last one's 10 after is IBM.
Right, exactly.
So we'll do that, and we'll stay a couple 5 minutes after that. We want to thank MF Dane for his contributions there today as well. Cerebras, though, look, a lot of the DRAM names are up today. A lot of the RAM names are up, and Cerebras is just holding on. This is another one of those IPOs. Someone said, worst IPO ever, SpaceX. I mean, you're not going to be right, but you're also not wrong, really. It has not been a good one. And considering all the hype that it's had, it might be one of the bad ones. But this name, Cerebras, came out at way overextended, right? And the thing about Cerebras is its price that everyone was excited about, that it came out at, I think was 180, right? And then it busted out at 350 that day. It's not their fault where the market brought this name.
Don't blame them.
Space, oh, there it is. The market and closing balances are now out there.
2 million bought.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? So there's the cover a little bit there on SpaceX. So it is a good thing that we were able to get out of it. Look how fast that gets paired off. So people are saying, oh, 2 million, okay, we'll sell into that. So now we'll wait to see where this name goes. I think it probably goes down from here as people starting to pair that off. But there, I think that's a good example that we just showed you there. Imbalances, maybe a sell. Okay, so flattish. NASDAQ a buy. Part of that's going to be SpaceX. I don't really see any other names on here.
There's nothing here.
IBIT with a buy. That's not moving it. We're into that. So both names I'm in, of course, are the opposite, of course.
PayPal's a small sell.
Yeah, I don't see. Oh, SMCI I just saw on there was a small buy. Wow, good day for SMCI, although they faded off $2 from their highs as well. Netflix, sorry to tell everybody, that's a sell also. I don't think anybody should probably be too.
Unless someone's trading on this, they probably don't care about that small name.
But
it's a pretty decent balance.
SpaceX just came right back in. I'm going to take another bid at 97 and then, still wait for a downside push. I'll put one at 115.50. Maybe we get flushed down to there. And then we'll get out of this and get ready for our closing show. So.
Yeah, just so you know, nothing on ServiceNow, small sell imbalance. IBM is a 200,000 sell as well here. I'm reading off of this list there. So nothing on burgers on those. Alphabet's only 185,000 to the buy side. Tesla's only 100,000 to the buy side. SpaceX is still 1.3. So it paired off a third, let's call it. I think I saw 2, and it's at 1.3. So actually a little bit more. So 40% is already paired off in the first minute. What you can expect would be that at 355, it probably usually pairs the rest. But that's a bit of a nothing burger whatsoever. I bet you said it was a buy.
Yeah, it's not doing anything, but it's a buy.
Yeah, I was just going to double check. I wanted to see how the out on BMNR, what's weird about this is it held up, but look at this sucker respect VWAP. There's some sellers. Crypto might be a sell again tomorrow. And I also still don't understand why. It doesn't have to. But like ETH continued to go lower, and then there was that little mini squeeze on BMNR. So you could have just stayed with ETH, which is at the absolute lows of the day. So we got about 7 minutes to go. Yeah, I know. I saw someone mention Apple in the chat there. There isn't a buy imbalance on Apple that's of any size, but it is flying for what it's worth. So it's not gospel. stock has an imbalance, it should go up. Or it has a small imbalance that shouldn't be significant, and then it flies a lot. It's entirely possible. The other thing to keep in mind is, there can be like pent up like sell pressure, and then maybe it just squeezes technically, and then the small imbalance goes the other way. In this particular case, it's actually a sell imbalance on Apple. I just threw it up here, 600,000 to sell, and Apple's charging higher. So some people could be, I would say, covering shorts at the end of the day is probably the most likely, but it's Apple. Apple doesn't need an excuse to go up. Apple right now is probably the safest Mag 7 name, and it's not even about valuation. It's just, if Google disappoints tonight and is down 5, 6, whatever percent it might be, just remember that Apple's the one Mag 7 name that will not be as bad in sympathy. If Google does poorly, all the other ones are going to get smoked. Apple's going to be flat because they won't care. Nick Dubs, Dell rally, really nice steady move up. There you go, Nick Dubs. It's your answer to the SMCI. Just buy the good one. Buy the dip on quality stocks instead of trying to find the low. Anytime you're trying to find the low on something, there's probably something in the sector which is better. Not always, but most of the time there is.
Yeah, I would say that's about right. You always want to look, and that's your SMCI, obviously there.
Yeah, that's all I'm
referencing. Mentioned there. So SpaceX turning itself around here, going back lower as this is getting hit. Down. Okay, there it is. We just took a 65 fill. I'm still bidding 25s. I mean, we just got the low all-time low fill now on SpaceX. So we'll see if it gets into one. Wow, I'm still bidding lower, man. I'm bidding 115.25s now. But yeah, there it is. IBIT still that bid. We're going to stop out of IBIT soon, but it's not doing anything. NVIDIA gets hit with a sell at the end of the day as well, heading into earnings for Google. So there's a sell that down there for them. Walmart, 109. Yuck. Not a great level for Walmart there, but they had a nice move higher. And they actually went right into that Joe low there that we were talking about, the guaranteed low. And it was a good call by Joe because it didn't go lower from 108, but tomorrow it will as it's breaking through those. Tomorrow it will, right through those levels because it just bounced pretty disturbingly, actually. This is now 4 straight down days, pretty aggressively there, almost 10% down. If it breaks, it would be 10% off that. But Walmart is fine. I really like the stock. Just getting hit there. We'll see if it does bounce off 108. I guess it's 109. That wick down there is 107. I don't know if we get to that on No News tomorrow. But yeah, right now 5 minutes left. Okay. Okay, there it is. We get our SpaceX. So, hey, man, it's $4 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, as it just keeps getting lower on SPCX. I don't know. I'm bidding 115.13s, like we said. That's still there. And then we'll just do our best after that. IBIT, we might as well just put a bid out and get out of IBIT at 31 if we can do that. But yeah, SpaceX, more lows incoming now. The all-time low for SpaceX is right here, right now. So, you're watching history. Will the all-time low come tomorrow? Yes, it will. It might get into 105 tomorrow. And the next thing you know, you're into that 100 level, and then you're punching short as it breaks. I will be punching short as it breaks through $100 there again. Like, it's down $10 from the posted 125 today that we had.
100 maybe on Friday. Not tomorrow.
Might be tomorrow, man. I mean, if we open up around 110, it just went down $10 in 4 hours. Give it all day to trade tomorrow. I don't know. Look, I hope
that's like 13% though. That seems a bit much. I can see another 7. 13 seems like. Yeah. It's possible. It's certainly possible.
Hey man, I'm just a day trader.
Friday makes sense. I am too. I just sort of look at it.
No, I don't know. I'm just saying it could easily get to $100 tomorrow.
Friday there's gonna be some gravity because options expiration. I can only imagine what the strike looks like at 100.
We've had multiple days where this thing, has just not caught. I mean, it was just 3 days ago. The high of the day was 136, and the low was again like 125 or 124. So yeah, as a percentage-wise, obviously it's going to be harder to make $10 as we get lower. But there goes SpaceX, man. And yeah, if you have bids at 110, pretty sure those will get filled tomorrow, and then we'll wait to see what happens after that. But 3 minutes to go. SpaceX is done.
Done like dinner, and Tesla's also done too. Sorry. Tesla broke the low. It was a small imbalance that flipped on Tesla, but it's back to a small sell. Now heading back into the upside. They report after the bell. Remember, ServiceNow, LOD, also dead. IBM reports tonight. IBM not quite at the low, but effectively at the the low at the closing bell. The only other name, there's other names that are reporting, but the other name here, Alphabet, even worse and continuing to fall. It doesn't mean anything, the fact that it's selling off going into the earnings print. We've seen this be completely irrelevant. Stocks rip going into earnings and then tank, stocks tank and then rip. But, I mean, it doesn't really help the cause either. So 1.5% down. I never closed the poll, but it's exactly the same as it was before, and I'll close it now. 60%. Remember, we said which name are you riding with? 60% said Alphabet. You can see what's happening to it. Tesla 20%. 7% liked IBM. The ones that have already warned about how bad it's going to be, so maybe you've given you their bad news already, and that's not where the confidence is. ServiceNow also bringing up the rear. Last time we had this poll, you know what happened? It was the name that people liked the least that actually did the best, and that was Apple. Can IBM do the same thing in 12 minutes?
I'm going to hold SpaceX into the numbers. I'm just going to hold this over as we're doing the show. I'm going to hold this. Let's see how low SpaceX get after hours. Okay, I'm not going to cover it at 4 p.m. I'm going to hold it to 4:10. Okay, we're going to see what happens to SpaceX here after hours. So if you want to have some fun with me after hours, watch out for SpaceX. I'm going to hold that and see what winds up happening. What is Google doing here into the close? Oh, shitting the bed. Okay, I mean, see you later for Google, man. I mean, people are not very excited right now for this report. It doesn't seem like. If anything, it is a big time move to the downside right now for Google, breaking through that 345, got into 342. Like, it's not going to matter, because if the report comes out and it's great, you're going to get back up. But at the end of the day, it's not a nice move here for Google. All right, let's go over to the desk. We're going to switch around and we'll get Adara and Sia ready to go. So thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned. We're not going anywhere. The chat's on the big screen. We're excited. Earnings staying late. Day number 1 starts now.
Day number 1 of earnings we care about here anyway. So guys, I'll just go over the numbers here. Oh, we're going to get that closing bell. 7, 6, 5. This is sponsored by our friends at VinFast, so they're going to drive us quite literally here into the close. And thank you, VinFast, for sponsoring the bell. And let's talk earnings. You've got Google and TXN at 4 o'clock, as well as CSX at 4:05. You've got Tesla and LVS at 4:10. You have IBM and ServiceNow. So lots of stuff to talk about here. Here's a look at Google, because we're expecting these first. The second I get these, I will keep you posted. I have the website open of the company. I've got the X open, like if we see anything, I'll let you know. So again, guys, revenue estimate $101.22 billion, EPS estimate $2.87 per share. You've got last quarter, they actually beat revenue quite heftily. They beat EPS by roughly double. Google Services revenue up 17% year over year. Google Cloud revenue up 63% year over year. So growth across the board here for Google. As the guys get set up, here's a reminder of what to expect from our friends at GOOGL. Then, of course, again, guys, ServiceNow and IBM, I think, in the software space are going to be on watch. Whenever Sean and Neil are ready, I will let them take over so I can look here for Google for you guys. Let's start checking X, because I think it's going to get pretty spicy. How are you guys doing today?
Anything's out yet. Welcome, everybody, to the show again, and thank you so much. We do have the chat up right now as well. Texas Instruments is out, TXN. We could have a quick, I have like a completely different situation over here, but there's Texas Instruments. We had a 9% move, I believe, on this one, Adara. Texas Instruments starts off the move at 294, down to 291 right now, but it's doing okay. A big spread of $10. Texas Instruments will get that information for you ASAP. Fabian, the only problem is you didn't turn around one of those cameras, so we can't see if we're on or not. There goes Texas Instruments down to 284 right now, going lower. There goes Texas Instruments downside. Adair, let us know when you have those numbers.
Texas, they're out. They did actually beat top line, so 2.214 versus 192 estimates. They also beat on sales, so they beat top and bottom line. Got to be a bad guide here, maybe, Adara, because certainly TXN beat top and bottom and tanking. We're going to have Alphabet up next. Let's go to Sia.
Absolutely. Let's take a number and look at TXN here. EPS at $2.14. That was coming out estimated. That was $1.93. Revenue at $5.46 billion, estimated $5.24 billion. And then you have over profit, operating profit at $2.31 billion, estimated $2.11 billion. You have CapEx, $500. We're going to go out at Google, moving it to Adara right now. We're going to cover TXS.
I have all the numbers, and I actually have the report in front of you guys, too, if you can look right at your screen. So here's a look. The column on the right is the numbers. The column on the left is last quarter. So the year-over-year growth for revenue, guys, pretty significant here. It's up 24% year-over-year, $119.79 billion. I was seeing estimates of $109 billion. So it's a massive beat. It's also well above last year's report of $96.42 billion. Let's see if we get CapEx. I love being able to search stuff live for you guys. Capital expenditures, not seeing, okay, capital expenditures. We define free cash flow. Okay, I'm not seeing the actual capital expenditures print. They're mentioning it a couple times, but if I get any number here, I will keep you guys posted. Revenue, though, for each of these segments here, Google Services revenue, 94.5 bill. That's going to be up year over year. Google Cloud revenue, almost double year over year from 13.6 bill to 24.7 bill. Other bets, basically same as last year, not really a sector that we care that much about. But yeah, guys, really strong growth here on a year-over-year basis for Google, for all of the main segments that we care about. And again, that revenue well above estimates. Just to recap for y'all, $119.79 billion versus $96.4 billion last quarter. Again, growth on a year-over-year basis for every major segment. Google Services, $94.54 billion in revenue versus $82.54 billion last quarter.
I'll let you confirm this, but I saw CapEx at second quarter, $44.92 billion versus $44.15. So it's slightly higher, not an exorbitant amount, but it is slightly higher on spending. They clapped it both ways. They basically ran stops through the high and then ran stops through the low at this point, but you're inside the range. This is not so bad.
No, I mean,
really,
it's
not so bad at all.
By the way, Fabian, that screen in front of us is not the show, but we'll get that going. Okay, more on the show. Let's go, Adara.
Yeah, so more on Google here, guys. Apparently, they're over the last 12 months here, CapEx $3.3 billion, which is kind of odd here. Revenue guide for Q3, $5.65 billion to $6.15 billion. That's going to be above estimates of $5.57 billion. EPS guide for Q3, $2.23, $2.23 per share to $2.57 per share, well above estimates of $2.13. So, guys, again, EPS beat, revenue beat, and guidance beat across the board here for Google. I guess maybe we're getting Tesla here. Again, yeah, the CapEx, just to recap, Q2 CapEx, $44.92 billion versus $44.15 billion expected. I'm going to look at Tesla.
After hours, that didn't take too long. There it is right there. So we had that question, gun to head. Are you going to go short or long? Tesla, short right there. It is downside. And here goes the NASDAQ as well, right? Start to get hit there in the down, now at the lows. Now the NASDAQ down 0.5%, going lower right there as Tesla downside. Oh, bouncing a little bit. We'll get those numbers for you in just a couple seconds. But Joe, anything?
Adjusted EPS miss. Their revenue was a beat of $2 billion for Tesla. 28 versus 26.
Yeah, I mean,
they don't care.
Look, they're selling a lot of cars, man. Tesla's a very, very popular ride, that's for sure. And
it's margin.
It's not even that expensive to get those cars, and that's what you might be talking about, maybe the margins.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. Google to me is like, honestly, I love Tesla, I love your car, but I mean, we've been knowing the stock's been a problem for a while. Google's right now at 333 and getting hit right now on Google. We'll go over to Adair for Tesla.
Tesla here, Q2 revenue, as Neil mentioned, massive beat, $28.24 billion versus $26.32 billion expected. EPS, 32 cents, just missing estimates of 33 cents, more or less in line here, though. Adjusted EPS, 33 cents. That's going to be well below estimates for adjusted EPS of 51 cents per share. Q2 gross margin here, as Neil mentioned, 16.8%, well below estimates of 19.4%. That is nearly 3% lower than what we were expecting here. Automotive revenue, $20.52 billion, hefty beat compared to estimates of $18.68 billion. Services and other revenue, $4.58 billion versus estimates of $3.72 billion. So still going to be a beat. Energy and storage revenue. People keep talking about how Tesla's an energy company, not according to these numbers. $3.14 billion here versus estimates of $3.77 billion. Active FSD subscriptions, just over estimates. 1.48 million versus 1.4 million expected. Negative free cash flow, negative 1.09 billion. That's better than estimates of negative 3.6 billion, but kind of a rough report, especially if you're one of those people who's banking on Tesla being an energy company.
Well, I think it could really just come back down to the margins, man. Declining margins is never going to be good. Especially, look, if you have a high valuation, you have to hit both aspects. You want to hit on growth, revenue growth you still hit on, so fine. But the margins are declining, then that revenue growth doesn't matter, and that's why the guidance on the EPS is not going to be good. And it's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
When you look at the move, it's down 4% to an expected 6%. So for now, that's not the end of the world. If you drop a couple more points and we lose 360 tomorrow morning, then you've got some trouble for Tesla. But you can say that this one no, that's not a great look for Tesla. Already into some downward pressure, can't like it. But I mean, obviously, Alphabet's a bigger story.
Yeah, I just covered some more SpaceX down here at 1462. We're short $5 now in the money on this one, as that's going a little lower. And we're just looking at SpaceX to see if there was any sort of a comeback there with that name. What I want to say about Tesla was that it's just at June right there. Like that's June 29th, right, into the month of July. So you're basically giving up all of July today. I don't think it's necessarily too hard of a look here for Tesla. I mean, we'll wait to see if there is a bounce spot. But yeah, just back into where we were there in June. It's more about Google right now that's the problem, right? I mean, that was down to 333, and it's only down 2% Google. I mean, maybe we did get a nice little bounce spot there from 334. Okay, Dare, what's up now?
Couple more things on Tesla. I'm waiting for ServiceNow. People are saying it's out. I haven't seen it. But TSLA here, Q2 operating income, $398 million. Well below estimates of $1.39 billion. So that is roughly a $1 billion miss on operating income for Tesla. I cannot overstate that. We also have here, I mentioned those Q2 FSD subscriptions. Apparently this is their best ever quarter in history for FSD ads. So I was underwhelmed, but apparently a good look. Yeah, and Sean gets some credit for that. We also have to talk about the fact they're expecting Optimus production in Fremont later this year. So Optimus production update, that's the look here for our friends at TSLA. We'll send you back to the guys. I'm looking for ServiceNow still.
IBM looks like they're out. IBM's also started moving.
I want to get
IBM
Joe's
tagged,
opinion. I mean, I'm paying this guy
extra $200, man. Like, this is looking nasty.
Not doing a whole.
Joe is just chilling over there, not mic'd up. Basically, like he's just over there chatting with us and dogging on Tesla.
We're gonna tell accounting to put a stop payment on that check then for Joe.
That's what I'm saying.
Not being mic'd up. IBM is out.
It's up.
Okay, well if it's out, you could fool me, but we're gonna go over to Adara.
Yeah, you've got here IBM. I'm seeing some of these numbers here. Earnings of $293 per share, in line with estimates of $293. That's exactly the estimate I was seeing too. Revenue here, 17.16 billion, just below estimates of 17.18 billion. This is a pretty underwhelming report, guys. Again, you've got EPS in line with estimates, sales just below estimates. I'm seeing apparently software revenue for IBM, 7.76 billion. That's going to be below estimates of 7.99 billion. So miss on software revenue. Just barely missing here on revenue. Inline EPS, this is not a great look here for IBM. International Business Machines is not doing great business for this quarter, let's put it mildly. Take a look here at ServiceNow as well here, NOW pushing higher. For some reason, we're going to have to deal with now later because I'm not seeing these just pushing higher. Give me moaning here for ServiceNow, but IBM looks like we mostly missed.
I mean, the good point about basically sandbagging, had that horrible and awful letter that they had, is you got told the worst. Already. What the heck is that? You got told the worst already from the CEO. So that's the reason you can go up on a bad quarter, because they told you it was going to be abject disaster when it comes to IBM. And it was the bottom of our poll.
Doing okay right
and it's
now.
the one that's doing the best, would be IBM.
Yeah,
I think sometimes when everyone's expecting the worst.
We thought there was a kitchen sink there on
they already
that report.
gave it to you.
Gave you down to 205. We talked about it numerous times there. That 205 level goes back, to the 2024, I think it was September of 2024. So what do you got on this, Dara? You got more?
I've got more here on our friends at IBM. Operating EPS, $2.93. As I mentioned here, this was in line with estimates, but I guess it was up on a year-over-year basis. Revenue was a big miss. Revenue was a slight miss. Software revenue, big miss. Consulting revenue, $5.33 billion, below estimates of $5.39 billion. I have yet to see a segment in which they've substantially beat anything. Free cash flow, $2.54 billion versus $2.95 billion expected. Fiscal revenue guidance, they're still seeing, 4 to 5% year-over-year growth versus their prior estimate of over 5% year-over-year growth. And they're still on track to deliver that quantum computer by 2029. Not like that was likely in doubt, but I like them mentioning that because it's kind of like, yes, this quarter was bad, but our longer-term goals are still happening. So I kind of like that look for them. I'm still looking, though, for ServiceNow. We did LVS. We can get to that in a minute. But yeah, I just think if I see anything more on IBM, I'll keep you guys posted. Still seeing comments from Tesla management / our friend Elon Musk here. Battery pack capacity remains a limiting factor for them. So once again, energy and non-car related things, a bit of a struggle for Tesla.
Okay. I want to thank everybody for staying with us. We're going to be disconnecting momentarily, but we'll wait for, ServiceNow is $97. I don't know. It's still down on the day, but it's trying to get going here. ServiceNow, good daily level of 91. Looks like we might have wicked down there initially. If you're looking to buy some ServiceNow, if the numbers are out, Adara's still parsing through to see if we could find it, but maybe that 90 might be a good bounce spot there. And then of course, Google,
Michael Green
right
here.
back.
Might go green.
So there we go, man. Wow, what a great opportunity that was to buy at 333, 11 bucks from now. There goes Google, nicely trading there, back up to the upside. Texas Instruments has repaired itself a little bit. Back up triage unit, back for Texas Instruments, now to 284 and change as well. We'll go over to Adara.
We're going to talk here about ServiceNow. I have these numbers. This is a revenue beat, 3.99 bill versus 3.93 bill expected. Adjusted EPS, 90 cents above estimates of 85 cents. GAAP EPS, 29 cents. Net income, $298 million. Subscription revenue, 3.88 billion. So that's going to be the bulk of that 3.99 billion revenue print that they shared. Their fiscal 2026 revenue outlook is going to be a problem. 15.76 billion to 15.78 billion. Estimates here of 16.19 billion. Apparently the top of the guidance is still roughly $400 million below the consensus estimate. So ServiceNow, might not be giving great service later in the fiscal year. Sorry for that terrible pun. But yeah, that's all I have really for ServiceNow. Strong quarter, poor guidance. I just got some more numbers in here for ServiceNow. Q3 subscription revenue, they're guiding between 3.97 and 3.98 billion for again, for Q3, that's going to be at least a sequential beat. Not sure how that compares to last year's print.
There you go. A quick recap. I mean, Alphabet, not so bad. Actually had a chance to turn green there. Tesla, it's down 4 points on Tesla. It was expected to be close to 6, like 5.9%, I believe. And no, I really don't like the margins there whatsoever. IBM and ServiceNow, everyone hates software, and IBM said it was going to be terrible. So I guess that was pretty much baked in at this point. So at the end of the day, I think everything's going to weigh on the overnight reaction in Alphabet. The CapEx spend actually wasn't that big of an increase over expectations. That was pretty close to in line. When was the last time we said that? Usually you're expanding that. So that could be a big one. It gives a little bit of a bounce, hopefully, to some of the down the wind of the AI play.
950 million monthly active users.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 950, almost a billion active users there. Google turning positive right now.
Yeah.
Sia, how you doing?
Investor calls here as well. Alphabet also saying that AI features are driving search query growth. So you're seeing Google go a little bit to the upside right now. Not a bad look over here overall, just looking at the numbers.
Okay, good job there. See, I'm going to cover the last bit of the SpaceX trade. But yeah, so far so good here today. Remember, Google, I have them missing 285 versus 290 on the EPS, right? But everything else looking pretty good there for Google. Cloud up, everything. The only red thing that I see on here, and this is just from X, was right here. EPS, X disclosed equity gain on impact. So there's some sort of, parsing through the numbers, but that's the only red dot. We've got 285 versus 290 right there. Everything else, okay. Search, plus 70% year over year. Little pause for concern. Search again. And that's about it, man. And then CapEx, as Neil just mentioned there, slightly higher than that, but plus 100% year over year. But hey, we've already heard it from the boss, right? I mean, if you don't spend on CapEx, somebody else will. And you'll get left behind. So we like that look, man. I mean, the most recent buy that I have on Google is right here at 348. So who knows where we're going to go from here. But yeah, thanks everybody for joining us late one more time. And we can see tomorrow we'll have Intel up. And so thanks Sia and Joe or not Joe, I mean.
He's here.
Mike up, but thanks to Dara, who's still doing work. Thank you, Sia, Neil, and Fabian, and everybody working in the back for us. So it's been a good one. And thank you to everybody for joining us. I mean, that's the whole thing. We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't have an audience.
Remember to like and subscribe.
All right, so
well, I was going to say 100% true. I want to give a big shout out to everyone. The super chat's fantastic. We appreciate all the positive message. We just got a super chat here 2 seconds ago. I can't put it up on the screen like we usually do, but I want to shout out to Cheese and a Chair.
Yeah.
One of our esteemed viewers. We're still all in on the cheese dispenser business. Hopefully it performs a little bit better than Tesla. That'll be the key question.
I got to see when do the cheese earnings come through? That's what I want to find out. Is this
Don't worry about
it. Is this a SpaceX story where we're not going to get revenues until 2031 or something?
That's exactly the story. It's not going to make any money, and I want my exit liquidity when we IPO.
That's Space Cheese.
Are you in on this company too, Sia?
Space Cheese?
Yeah, Space Cheese?
Absolutely.
Okay, good, me too. All right, good. So we're going to be running that Space Cheese. But thank you, everybody. Make sure you do hit the like and subscribe. We're back live tomorrow at 8 a.m. And I promise you, Joe will be mic'd up. And Adara, are you here tomorrow?
No, I'll see you guys on Monday.
So that means Sia in the hot seat tomorrow morning with Sharif. So join Sia tomorrow. And Adara, make sure you do have a great time off. That is for sure. So thank you, Adara.
Lots of infographics for you guys. I just finished one on Tesla sitting up right here. And oh my gosh, the theme of this is it's really ugly. So you guys can look at that ugliness for yourself on Friday when I post it.
Good. All right. More infographics. Who would have thought? Thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll catch you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Ciao for now.
I just want to vomit.